it have to be? Okay, yeah. All right, we'll talk. We definitely want to talk about it. So okay, I got.
Welcome back, guys. This is Arnaldo, aka Mad Dog, and this is The Real, episode 233 of GG's The Mouthful Podcast.
Why is what I want to talk about. It's like, why?
All I want to talk about is why.
I just need to know, like, why is it that they just go that route? You know, they think, no, they got a video game. They don't know a video game franchise. They don't know what to make of it. You know, so they somehow have to tie it with real world,
yeah.
military. Like just like shoehorn it in there. It's like, you know, because that will bring even the non-gamers. You know, let's completely disrespect this franchise, and let's bring. Oh, I'm sorry. GG!
Thank you, sir. Thank you. The audience was waiting with bated breath. Like, wait a minute, the show hasn't started yet until we get a GG, right? So what is happening?
This is an example of what Hollywood is doing with this movie. It's like you expect one thing, but you get something entirely different. You're like, what the hell?
Oh my god, dude. It is. So that voice, of course, first off, is Mr. David Santos, aka Dream Twister. And he is completely perplexed with the decision for the upcoming Sony produced film, for the record. Sony produced film, Mila Jovanovich's Monster Hunter. That's the title because Mila Jovanovic is on the title.
She's a maker. She's a maker. This is Peter Jackson's, you know, Kong or King Kong. This is Mila Jovanovic video game movie, and then you know the quality that you
exactly. Because we all know how well, you know, the Resident Evil films have been received throughout the years. This is what they're trying to replicate, essentially. Yes. It's not going to be a great film, but people are going to enjoy it for what it is. You know what I mean? I really think that's the only thing it is, because outside of monsters being in it, I don't know why it's connected to Monster Hunter.
It's the same. You know what? You're right, because I can almost say the same thing about Rampage, but you remember the movie Rampage? Oh, Rampage was ridiculous, and keep in mind it had to do, you know, there wasn't a lot of lore in that 1980s arcade, you know.
Exactly.
They did something with it, and of course, throw in The Rock because it has to be one of those movies.
Because he sells movies. That's what it comes down to. People are going to go see The Rock.
Exactly.
And, you know, let's be real. I get it. He's a charming guy, and he adds something to your films.
Yeah.
And you know what? He did. I think, true that. Yeah. So is Mila. Yep. Definitely. She played a great role in Alice. Okay, I will exaggerate. She played a good role as Alice. Apologies. I have a habit of being a little hyperbolic with the word great.
Great.
It's a great thing. And I really just mean it's okay.
That's great. I'll remember for next time. Oh, that's great. What do you mean? Just great?
Do you mean great? Or
great? You mean great? What grade are you giving me?
Oh my god. So I think we're both. I think both of us are kind of perplexed. Honestly, we're just going to be talking about this trailer for the entire 2 hours, guys. So sit back, relax.
Exactly. We just changed the topic. Ha ha! We got you. We're gonna talk about Monster Hunter. Ha ha!
Yeah. It is sci-fi, but we're talking about bad sci-fi.
Bad sci-fi, yes. You know what the sad thing is? I was. The first, like, I'm not like a super fan or anything like that, but the first few like the costumes, like you see the outfits very early when they were talking about the movie coming in, and they look good. I was like, oh, okay, so I'm glad that it looks like they're sticking to the formula and they're not making anything like ridiculous and crazy, and that's exactly what we're getting, something ridiculous and crazy and stupid.
Yes. Yeah.
We're getting U.S. forces getting lost in the whatever and ended up in the in the world of Monster Hunter. Not talking cat.
Wherever that is that a different planet? Is it a different part of the
No, they went
Earth
back in
that we
time.
just don't know?
They went
Yeah,
back in
exactly.
that's gonna be plot. That's gonna
Oh
be the
my.
plot. That all of this happens on on Earth, or in the far future, because by then they can say, well, cats have evolved and now they can talk.
Exactly.
They can
I mean,
say
they can still go with the past and just say, "Well, cats actually devolved over time." You
that.
know what I mean? They used to talk, and now they're
uh,
just these little,
I thought it was a
annoying.
post apocalyptic post.
It could. It may very well be. I mean, they got transported. It was like some alien, you know, tombs or not tombs,
Oh,
pillars or whatever they were, and it's just like, okay, what does that have to do with anything in Monster Hunter? Nothing at
monsters,
all.
yo!
Yeah.
There's monsters, and these people are hunting. You know what? I bet her name's gonna be something Hunter. She's gonna be like Rachel Hunter or some
I
shit
bet
like
you. I
that.
bet you.
You know?
I know exactly what's going to happen. They're going to get transported over there,
Uh,
wherever there is, right?
mhm.
And they're going to discover that there was this prophecy of
Uh-huh.
someone who was going to come from a faraway place
Uh-huh.
and be
Uh-huh.
the monster hunter. And it turns out that Mila Jovanovic is that person.
Oh,
And
this
she's
sounded too good. This sounded too good. Hold on. Let me get Netflix on the line. Let me get Netflix on the line. Okay, they're listening. Go.
okay. She's gonna have a tattoo that she doesn't remember how she got, but the tattoo will match up with something in that world, and it will confirm the indigenous folks that yes, she is the one. She
She is
is
the one. Yes.
yeah,
Yes. Her name is
the one who was promised. Yeah.
oh yes, she's the chosen one. Her name is Catherine, but everybody calls her Cat because Cat because it's once a hunter.
Yeah.
So she's Cat Hunter, and I will say replace tattoo with a dagger, and that dagger has the shape of the exact location that she needs to be facing. You know, so that the dagger shape will align with the ruins that have stayed there for eons and eons, but they haven't changed.
Yeah,
You
they
know,
haven't changed. They haven't degraded in
they
any
haven't
way. No
degraded. No,
erosion.
no
Yeah,
erosion.
yeah.
Exactly. That's
I,
the way.
I
That's the
think
way
you
it
just
works.
nailed this plot, man.
I, you know what?
Yeah,
I, I think you stole the script. I think you just
yeah.
spoiled the movie.
We just there you go, guys. You don't have to go out and waste money on
There
what
you go.
obviously is going to be a waste of money.
Eh,
So,
You know, theaters are a thing of the past. They no longer
yeah.
exist. So
Well, you definitely don't want to be paying $30 at home for this shit. I'm just saying. If anybody can take anything away from this conversation is, don't do it.
no,
This is clearly another Mulan issue. Okay, guys, just don't do it. Don't
no,
do it.
no. Watch
Oh
Sonic
my
the
god.
Hedgehog instead.
Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. As always, first off, I'd like you guys to go to goodgame.rocks and join the conversation there. That takes you right to our Facebook group. And of course, please like, subscribe, and share this podcast with everyone. What we normally do is first we go into what we have been up to, move on into various news items, and then finish with our hot topic of the week. This week's
This
hot
week's hot
topic,
topic.
our favorite sci-fi. Uh, so, to get a little background here, because I feel like I need to give credit where credit is due.
Mhm.
Polygon is doing a like sci-fi week at some point, and they're just doing sci-fi everything. What are some of the best films, books, and it goes everywhere. I mean, it's not it's a really really and what's the stuff that in this world right now we're close to as far as stuff that we've seen in sci-fi.
Yeah.
It's a really big, expansive project that they've done, and it kind of inspired me to do this particular hot topic. And so, what it is really simple. We just kind of go over a lot of the different sci-fi concepts, be that from film, from books, from games. Anything that we think are some of the best concepts. Even some of those, because I'm sure we can pull out a sci-fi property of some sort which wasn't really good but it had a good concept and you would like to see that build upon or something.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so we're gonna go into that, and of course we're gonna go over our favorites, favorites out of that particular genre across those mediums. But first we have to start with what we have been up to, sir.
Yes,
What
sir.
have you been doing?
Oh man. Well, I feel like I haven't played a lot of things, but I do have a lot to say about the things that I've played. So I needed to gather my thoughts. First off, you guys know I have been playing the campaign of Star Wars Squadron, and I'm happy to report that as of a few minutes before this podcast started, I actually uh, uh, finished the campaign, and I thought that it was okay. You know,
Oh, okay, okay.
it's not it's the story is it's not particularly phenomenal, but it is entertaining. Uh, I can see for the time and the well, I wouldn't even say the effort. Shit, my battery's about to die. Damn it. We might need to pause this podcast at some point while I replace my battery, or you're gonna have to vamp for a little bit in a moment if I disappear.
Okay.
So okay. So anyway, the I played the almost the entirety of the campaign with my hot ass.
Okay.
I'm sorry, it's my Spanish. It messed me up. With my hot ass, not with my hot ass.
Oh, I was gonna say,
with,
it's like,
with
man,
my,
I know your room gets warm and all, but damn, bro, throw in the AC.
with my hot ass joystick and throttle system, jiggerish. Uh, and I thought I honestly think the gameplay execution on it is fantastic. When you have the right hardware, and in VR, bro, which I haven't, I personally haven't experienced, but I've watched a lot of videos on it, and I actually sent you one that was like 15 minutes of gameplay. I told you, dude, just watch 2 minutes of it, just
Yeah,
two
yeah,
minutes of it,
I did.
and you will see that this this will make me change my mind about VR because it looks amazing. It looks like exactly the experience that you dream as a child of flying, an X-wing, and look into the side. You actually see the X-wing foils, and you look back and you see your droid unit.
Oh, that's cool.
All of that is phenomenal, dude. It looks so good that it I won't lie, it had me looking for prices. But I was like, no, because it's just gonna be for this probably, and maybe something else will come in. But but I'm concerned about wasting money for just one title, and it's not even a title that they're going to be developing a lot on. That developers already said, okay, this is the game. This is all you get, and that kind of sucks.
Mm,
Because I want more. I
mhm.
did enjoy that campaign. I still have problems with the scale of the ships, and unfortunately, that last Empire mission pretty much brought the fun to a screeching halt. I will
Oh,
say,
damn.
yeah. I was having such a good time. I think I will even text you like, bro, I had an experience with this game that could easily make my list of one of the best experiences that I had this year. Because it was like that fantasy of flying inside a structure and like blowing it up and then just getting out real fast. Well, it was that, and it was perfectly executed. Uh, Probably by pure chance because it's not like I have the super skills or the reflex to pull it off. But maybe it was not that difficult, but it still looked impressive. It still felt great,
Mhm.
to pull it off. Um, and the game was, it had a lot of moments like that were like interesting gameplay set pieces. When you see it all, each mission will probably won't take you more than probably like 15 minutes on average. So
Okay.
they're shortish missions, but because of the actions and the things that happen, they make it they make it, they're an interesting 15 minutes. And I was having a good time with it. Unfortunately, it's not the type of game where you can pick a a side. Like I can't play as the Empire. If it was my choice, I would play the Empire first and see the campaign, and then play the Rebel and see the campaign. Well, no, fortunately, this changes. It likes to change the perspective. So you start as the Empire, then other missions you played as the Rebels, and then at the end, it's almost like the switcheroo has you like back and forth. It almost gave me whiplash
Oh
because
wow.
at one point you're feeling very good about, yeah, fucking.
Well, I think we officially lost him. He was a little too excited, apparently. He is probably setting stuff up now. Let me. I just realized I should probably message him because he could still be talking at this very moment and not knowing. Let me put here your headset is dead. So let's see if he can hear, or rather, if he knows what. Oh,
Shit. I,
oh, there he is.
I should have checked my shit. You see, it's fucking Rebel Alliance is trying to get to me. It's messing up with my. Hold on, let me put this battery on here. Okay, charge. All right. I should have actually. My apologies. I should have actually made sure that this headset was was actually
Ready to go.
charged proper. Yeah, and ready to go. So where was I? Okay,
You were
so
saying that it was the most amazing, and then we lost you.
yeah, it's amazing. The amazing feeling of, yeah, die rebels come. You're destroying it, and you're doing missions for the Empire. You beat the mission for the Empire, and now you're thrown into the rebellion, and you're like, wait a minute, I haven't had a chance to celebrate with my Empire buddies, and now you gotta play from this other field, and we all know why. Unfortunately, it pains me to say, but I do not enjoy the fact that the franchise itself has fallen into the hands of Disney, because I feel like everything that we're gonna get from now on is just gonna have that layer of, you know Disney thing. I don't know what to call it, but it is a layer of
Disneyfied, yeah,
not.
yeah.
Yeah. It's just Disneyfied uh to ruin, to ruin it ruins the experience, because I remember, on, I mean, most of the games, yes, you've always played the Rebel Alliance side, but we had a project where it looks like you could play, or it was a little bit more ambiguous, the choices
Mhm.
you were making, and then that got scrapped. Speaking of ambiguity, the you see the Empire. It
Mhm.
has, you see all of them humans, all of them humans. On the Rebellion, you see, you have everything. You have your aliens. You have uh your ambiguous character that you can tell,
Oh, okay.
like, are you a guy or a girl? What's going on in
Oh,
there? It's like, not that I need to know, but I'm curious, because it's like one particular character. It might as well be literally Pat. you know,
Oh wow.
from the old SNL skits
Mm.
and stuff. But yeah, uh, I'm saddened that the developers have said already that they're not bringing any more content, man, because I really enjoyed this game. But I be the first one to admit that it's probably because I had the right setup for it. I don't know if this is a game, unless you're like a Star Wars, fan. I don't know if it's a game that you will see on that at that level. Like I could like, easily give it a high 8. For me. And this is just a single player. I haven't even gone into the multiplayer, and I know that people are playing the multiplayer. I've heard problems here and there, but for the most part, they're happy in general.
Oh, you haven't tried it at all?
Uh, no, no, I haven't. I haven't done I was just I'm solely basing this on the single player
Mm, okay.
experience on the campaign, and I enjoyed the campaign because it was it was well written, if not a little, um, and but I wanted to see more. It left me with that one. Like I almost want to restart the experience again, but it was because I was having a good time playing with joystick and throttle. Playing with a gamepad, it's gonna be fine if you're okay with that. But at that point, I will have to I will have to say it's still a good game, and it's still, I mean, $40. It's a fantastic price for what you get. Um, but it's, I mean, if you're not, like, for example, to tell you, let's say you didn't have the thing with EA, like, I don't know how you would have felt about grabbing it, especially after seeing how what Star Wars have become, as of late.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna fall down that rabbit hole again.
Yeah,
but, but yeah, yeah. I'm done. I'm done with it.
yeah, yeah.
Pretty much.
Done with Star Wars. This game feels like an apology for for the Battlefront 2 fuck up, almost like a small,
Mm.
like a, I mean, not small, because again, you do get a fairly enough content of, I would say, for the price, but it's not that type of expansive game where you when they're playing, when that you're gonna get more later down the line. uh I want a sequel. I'm okay with this. I think EA, surprising to say here, but I think they knocked it out of the park with this one. I really
Okay.
like it. The other thing I've been playing actually has been Genshin Impact.
Oh my god.
Oh, your God.
Uh,
Let
I
me
was
tell you.
actually before
Uh-huh.
you even go there. Before you even go, okay.
Uh-huh.
I went and did a little bit of research
Uh,
on the game, and I even watched several let's plays. One particular one was from the Giant Bomb guys, who did about a good hour long video, and I watched the entire
oh,
thing, bro. And
wow.
I watched the entire thing, and I gotta say, first off, just from the look of it, it's a very beautiful game for it being a free game.
Mm.
Uh, Outside of that, all those systems, I was like, no, thank you. And you may proceed now, sir.
All
Just
right.
let
All
you
right.
know where I stand on that game.
I gotta no, fair enough, because you're not wrong. The game throws a lot of things, or I feel like it's more the players throw at you a lot of different naming conventions and systems and crap like that. That, yeah, I could see someone going, fuck this shit. I'm not even gonna try it. But here's the thing: this game is absolutely 100% free
Hmm.
if you want it. If you want it
Yeah,
to
yeah.
be. It's a free to play game. It's definitely a free to play game. Um, so what is Genshin Impact? It is, like I said, free to play, open world, and lately I feel like it has been taking a lot of the gaming community by storm. Uh,
Yeah, for
the,
sure.
definitely a lot of vibe. People talking and playing this. I discovered this actually by accident. I was looking for something completely unrelated on the Nvidia forums, and someone mentioned the name, and then it had like a lot of upvotes and a lot of people behind it, and that's what got me curious. Like, huh, what is this? And then remember last podcast I asked you, should we be playing Genshin Impact? Have you heard about this game?
That's the
And
reason
you were
why
like,
I did my research for the record, because we spoke about it, and I was like, let me look into this. Not that I was letting go of Hades for the record, but let me just look into
right.
it. Maybe I can add it somewhere. I even asked my son because Nick plays it, and he
Oh,
loves it. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, oh, okay. So all right, tell me
it's
about it.
getting
What is it?
it's getting to people. It's getting to people. First of all, I should mention the game is available on PC, PS4, Android, and iOS. Yes, it is available on mobile devices. No Xbox, and the developers
For
no
whatever reason.
Xbox, no Xbox. The developers have been kind of staunch, also kind of like staunch in saying like we have no plans on bringing an Xbox version. I mean, if this game continues its route and it continues getting the good vibe, I said it last podcast. I can see a version for it coming down the line.
Mhm,
Especially because with Xbox being so open towards the crossplay and all that, and this game is one that apparently does have crossplay. It has some restrictions on PS4, I heard, but I haven't been able to see exactly on what what is the impact. I don't think it's anything like major because, to be honest with you, it's it has the functionality for for co-op play, but it's not the strong point. It's not an MMO, you know.
mhm.
Uh, so what the hell is it, right? So it plays in the style of an action adventure RPG, and I think you saw that on the video.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
It's been compared to a little bit to Breath of the Wild.
yes,
It has been compared also to, there was another one, like some of the Tales games, the open world Tales games.
I can see that.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, they are.
so I think I think it's like a perfect marrying of those things, with
Yeah,
a lot of gotcha elements,
yeah,
basically.
with a lot of gacha elements, and I'll tell you about them. So, the game was developed by a Chinese developer called Mihoyo, which is unfortunate because the name is kind of an euphemism in Spanish for my asshole. So, Mihoyo, imagine that's the name of the company. The game takes place on a fictional world of Teyvat. Yeah, Teyvat, which is a world of dragons and monsters, and elemental magics, and so on. You could play as a young woman or a young man uh, who you can name, although everybody refers to you as the traveler. Uh, and then, depending on who you choose, uh, a mysterious figure will appear. And this is all in the cutscenes on the very beginning, so this is not spoilers or anything like that. As soon as you make your selection and you see and you watch you know, the very well animated anime uh, uh, cutscene, your sibling gets mysteriously trapped or disappeared, basically, and then you try to rescue your twin, say, brother or sister, again depending on who you pick. So you
Mhm.
pick the girl, you rescue your brother, and you pick the guy, and you rescue your sister. uh, while in the meantime, you are accompanied by their version of, you said this game reminds you of Breath of the Wild a little bit. Breath of the Wild didn't have Navi, but there was another Zelda game that had Navi. Anyway, there is this fairy-like creature, fairy, not furry, this fairy-like creature called Paimon, who has the worst voiceover in video games.
Oh wow.
But she because it's she, she's adorable sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes she comes on very cute and adorable. Sometimes you just get on your nerves because it's just she speaks at this very high,
Oh God,
very
yeah.
high voice, and it is it gets super annoying. Like, yeah, no, you wouldn't like it. You wouldn't like it. Excuse me. Uh, like you mentioned, the games compare a lot with Breath of the Wild, and having played both, I can tell you, I can definitely see that the developer
Similarities. Yeah.
absolutely, yeah, absolutely
Mhm.
took cues from Zelda Breath of the Wild. The traversing around the world, especially, it's almost, well, a Chinese knockoff. No offense. Almost,
Quite
almost.
literally.
Well, I wouldn't call it that. I wouldn't call it a cheap knockoff though, because the world it's beautifully realized, and it is very eye pleasing. It runs pretty well, actually, phenomenally. Uh, and even though you have a main character, it's almost certain that you will not be playing that one character throughout the whole game because you get to collect up to 23 different companions as of this episode, and each of them has a different fighting style, which I thought it was pretty awesome because the fighting on this it's fun. It's fun when you're fighting with your original cast, and then when you start getting these new characters, uh, and discovering their fighting styles and their elemental magics and all that. It's kind of cool. It builds a very good synergy. Because let's say you collect all these characters, but you can only play four at the same time. Now, on your screen is only going to be one character, and then you switch the character by pressing a button. On the PC, I play keyboard and mouse, so it's just the buttons one, two, three, four, and you switch like that. Um, and then, which is cool because as you're fighting, you can actually change your character in the middle of the fight and
Hmm.
switch to someone else and continue like doing some crazy cool combos. And what I mean by that is the characters themselves perform very synergistic moves that complement each other, especially when it comes to that elemental magic, because uh, the elemental magic respond to each other. Like, let's say, for example, oh, I can remember the top of my head. You get a character, uh, water. You get a character wet, let's say, and then you change your character to have electricity. You can imagine how that's gonna affect suddenly,
Hmm.
you know, or fire versus wind, or if you use fire and it's a flammable area, like usually like grasslands, for example, is a very good place to use fire because you have area of effect attacks. So suddenly because the fire starts spreading around, and if you combine it with wind, oh, now you take that fire and even further out, um, and or if you're in water and you can actually freeze the water and walk over it. And I forgot how all of them interact, but all of them interact with each other in a way. you
Hmm.
know Not all of them interact with all of them, but the fun is finding those elements that complement each other so that you can make really powerful attacks suddenly. Like you could depend on mixing those elemental attacks, which I thought it was complex in a cool way, not complex in the oh my god, I need to keep track of this, because you don't. Once you learn how it happens, you're not gonna forget.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's why now if you hear from someone telling you about it, then it's gonna be like, oh man, this sounds like super complicated. um, the game, it's one thing that I was impressed with was how seamless it goes from me playing on a PC, finishing on the PC, picking up my phone, and loading it up there and picking up exactly where I was. exactly, because you what you get on the mobile is not a toned down version of the game. No, it's the game. You get the entirety of it with the stories, with the voiceovers, with everything. And the only difference is just the changes on the HUD, obviously, for changes on how you control it because it's a mobile game. Because suddenly you have invisible thumbsticks,
Hmm.
which are a pain. I'm not gonna say that it is like
Yeah,
super well, smooth,
they
but
are a pain. Yeah, I
yeah,
actually, I think I'll tell you, I was playing Final Fantasy 6 on my phone for a little bit,
uh,
and because of that particular game, it's not that big of a deal. It's not heavy combat the way this game would be.
yeah.
But even then, it was like having buttons on screen, that
Mm,
you really can't feel. It didn't feel great.
mm,
So I can
yeah,
only imagine when it's a game like this where it's like, no, this is now you're making
yeah.
actions and
I was
attacking
just
and all this stuff
I
live.
was just gonna say, yeah, it's like to take lower or same level monsters, it probably wouldn't be too much of a problem because you can still pull it off. The game is very generous with the amount of help pull that with the help pool that it gives you, and you have four
Mm,
characters. But I feel like that's just in the beginning. In the later stages, the monsters get tougher. But
yeah.
by then, if you've been playing here and there a little bit on mobile, then you probably have a grasp of where the buttons are. So in that aspect, I I can't I can't blame it too much, especially when the game has allowed me to at night when my wife goes to sleep and I'm like laying down, beside her, and I go ahead and whip it out, and
Wow.
then I bang some impact the whole night. I'm talking about the game. I'm talking about the game. Of course, I'm gonna talk.
Wow.
I'm whipping out the phone and playing. No, I don't play the whole night, but it lets me play maybe when I go on break, for example, from work. I have 15 minutes. Well, the 15 minutes, I just put the game on the phone, and I just run around trying to collect stuff because the game collects it lets you collect a bunch of things, and at some point you're going to need them, so it encourages you to just carry everything and you don't have to worry about inventory because the game gives you like 30,000 spots, literally literally, to store things, so you're not going to run out of space, so you can just grab everything. And I use it to like move around the map and discover stuff because the game, it's it's fun to explore. It's fun
Hmm.
to explore and go around it. The game has, like I mentioned, very good anime graphics and a very good score. The voice acting is fucking terrible, but then again, it is anime, like I said, so you sort of expect that to be the case, especially when they keep talking when their lips have stopped moving. There's no lip
Oh
syncing on
God.
this.
Okay.
That- They left the Chinese lip sync, I bet, because some sentences will be long and your character will be completely not moving their lip already. But the sentences will keep going. Um, but the roster of characters, like I said, is incredible. You
Mm,
know, uh, and and you will get your characters naturally through the story or through the gotcha element of the game.
yeah.
The big elephant in the room. So, yes, this game, as a free to play game, has loot boxes. Yay! Our favorite thing. Woohoo! And it is true that you probably could get the most powerful characters and weapons immediately by investing enough money on it. Um, uh, they they you can technically still unlock them by getting lucky with the free currency that the game throws to you as well. And let me tell you, this game likes to throw a lot of currency at you for whatever reason. Like every time the developers they have this currency called Primo Gems, and every time the developers fix a bug that people reported, they feel bad. They want to apologize. Here's 100 Primo Gems, and Primo
Oh.
Gems are things that are, I mean, they're not difficult to acquire, but they every now and then little things that you do gives you like five of them. You know, the larger things that you do could give you like 300. But if you read an email from the developer, you can get 100 and not know it. So it's like, okay, oh, cool, all right, thanks. And you want them. You want to have you want to get them because that's the stuff that you use to be able to unlock your weapons or I guess what's the other thing? They don't call it like armor, but they call it, I forgot what they call it. But basically the stuff to protect you or the characters themselves. You can even try your luck and get your new characters that way. So so uh, I tell you, I it's hard to feel bad when the game is not costing you $60. If this was a $60 game and it has that bullshit, I'd be like, no, forget it. Don't even try. You are paying $60. You're not paying $60 to then spend more money. But when you get a game that is completely free, that has the high production values that these games seems to have, that seems to have the support because a lot of people are playing in now, and the developers have already announced the roadmap of what they're trying to accomplish for the next seasons or whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
Uh, I feel it's fair. You can play the game and have fun. Uh, you probably feel the paywall approaching, especially at the later levels, but it's
Mhm.
not. They don't make it, at least from the experience from like all the people, because I want to know. Like, I don't want to waste my time, so I'm obviously reviewing and I'm watching videos and I'm seeing what other people have to say about it, and they say that yes, there's a point where it starts to become a little grindy,
Mhm.
but it's not unsurmountable. It's not okay. This is you have to pay. It's more like, well, this is the stuff you have to do now to be able to continue ranking up. If you want to if you want to make it quicker, then that's when you start, spending money. And I wouldn't feel bad if I have no plan of spending money just yet because I'm having a good time with it, but I still don't know if it's something that I'm just gonna continue down the line and I'll continue. But having a good time now. But let's say if I'm having a great time with it, I wouldn't feel bad about throwing, I don't know, $5, $10, something.
Mhm.
Except that because it's just loot boxes, like I will probably save that for when I will really, 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 really need it. Because again, this was not Ubisoft, giving me having me pay $60 for the title. Oh, and then I need to pay them $10 more to unlock the patch. They're not doing that. They gave me the game entirely free, so it's only fair that you give back if you feel whatever. Uh, I think it's fair. I think it's fair. I think you get a
It
lot of
is fair,
hours
yeah,
play
yeah.
just without having to spend a single penny. So, so that's Genshin Impact. I do encourage you to try it. Even you, Mad Dog.
Good.
You don't lose anything with just putting it on and seeing. The
This is
system
true.
sound the system sounds crazy because it's, again, if you start watching videos about people playing it, they're gonna talk about mid maxing and doing stupid shit that you're just not ready to hear because you don't understand the concepts first. Once you see the concepts, then it'll make sense and it'll be natural for you. Oh, I should be doing this because it's the natural thing to do, not because some guy on YouTube told me and now I have no idea what they're talking about and it just sounds like this game has 20 different uh, uh, different types of
Yeah.
currencies,
Mhm.
which it does, but you'll understand you'll understand why once you play it. You understand why. So, Genshin Impact. All right, like I said, only two things, but a lot to talk about.
Nice.
I'm gonna close with what I've been watching. I watched no movie that I recall, but I did finish watching Raised by Wolves, a,
Mm.
Hi- a Hideo Kojima series.
Yes, finally. Woohoo! Oh my goodness. So I'm curious to
Uh
hear
huh.
your thoughts, and I'm also curious to see if they align with mine, essentially.
All
But
right.
because I have a
Since you
feeling
asked,
that I have a feeling that they might align to a certain extent. But go ahead.
if you're a betting man, don't fucking bet on it. Do not waste your time with this series. And I apologize if I made you, by any means of my previous endorsement, make you start watching it, because this series does not know what it wants to be, and nor is it particularly interesting enough to care to find out. Both me and my wives were pretty turned off by how things got crazier and crazier, uh, for no apparent reason than, hey, plot device. We need we need a chapter here. What can we make up? Because we have free reign, because this is super high sci-fi. So this is the world that it doesn't matter what you're thinking. We could just probably make it into the script. If it's something ridiculous, it doesn't matter. We could probably make it happen into the script, because people will eat it, because hey, it's this mysterious world. So if you like that kind of stuff, if you like that kind of stuff where it's like you don't know what to expect next, then yes, I guess this will be for you. You can go watch it. But I was looking for a semblance of, I don't know, maybe cohesion, and I no. To say more will be to spoil something, and that part that I want to spoil, but I'm not gonna, is the part where I just went, nope, fuck this shit, I'm out, I'm out. And by that time, it was still a couple of episodes before the end of the season, and then when the season ended, I was like, oh yeah, I'm not coming back to this.
So here's where I think we sort of align.
Oh, now we sort of.
See, so I thought that the very first, I want to either say it's 2 or 3 episodes, were really, really strong.
Yes,
And it's because it was
I
the
agree.
setup.
Yeah, I agree.
And it was very strong. I mean, it was just like, whoa. I mean, this was the hook, essentially. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And man, did that shit. I was like, I told you, I saw it within 2 days, the entire series.
yeah.
Um, Towards the end, I was just like, okay, now we're going a little off the deep end here. You know what I mean? So I was like, I
A
cannot.
little.
First off, I cannot say that I didn't enjoy. I had a lot of theories. As
To
I
be
goes,
fair, neither can I. Neither can I. I can't. Obviously, I was. That was what I planned to do with my wife after we both got up from work. We'll watch a couple of Frasier episodes, and then the main event will be, let's watch an episode. And I will only watch one, because I can't binge. But yeah, yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I feel the same way. I feel very similarly. Like, I don't. I'm gonna say now that I don't have it on my list to continue. It's obviously it's only the first season.
Mm.
Um, but I can almost see if I see a trailer, a year from now, going, "Hey, season two is," I'm like, I might jump
Good.
back in. But I know what you mean. There's a lot of questions that this series gives you, and it does answer a lot of them, but
Mm.
there's some that you're just like, what? It's like, no, that wait, what? Yeah, you're left with some of the answers to certain
And
questions. You go,
an
that
even
was
more
the last thing.
confounding. Yes, exactly. A more confounding question.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You're left with what, basically. That's the most confounding thing.
Yes.
Some of the other ones do answer them interestingly. So I'm like, okay. I I won't say specifically is, but there's a particular thing that end up being radioactive, and I was like, oh, okay, you know what I mean? I was like,
Hmm. Hmm.
that makes perfect fucking sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, this, the way it's introduced,
Yeah.
several episodes in. You suddenly start going, oh, okay, and it goes backwards and starts filling in gaps from before.
Uh,
I think it did fairly well. And but there's still some really really big question marks for the planet, that they're on. Which again, as I mentioned before, is an actual real planet. You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah.
And not only the planet, but also the um the factions. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, I thought a particular faction didn't have the technology to be able to lead, but apparently they did. So like, okay, so those type of things is like, oh, okay, all right, I see where
Don't
we're
worry.
going.
They have the technology to do a hell of a lot more.
Evidently, yeah,
Evidently,
evidently.
yes.
So yeah,
It's
I
gonna
hear you.
be
So it's so
ridiculous.
yeah. That's what I mean to say that I think we sort of align.
Hmm.
Because by the time like I said, I was 3 episodes in, and that was clearly in that hook when I
Yeah.
came to say, dude, you got to watch this freaking show. And I was like, this shit is real, dude. And then I kept watching it. I was just like, oh, okay. So it has a strong start, and not that it finishes poorly. And again, I don't think the series at all is a poor series. It's just it really introduces a lot of sci-fi concepts. A hot topic. A lot of sci-fi concepts that you're just like, okay, I don't know if I don't know if I'm on board with that. You know what I mean? And other stuff is just like, I really don't understand that. You know what I mean? So I get it. So that's why I think that we're kind of aligned with it. You know what I mean?
To our to our English listeners, I would say this is pretty much sci-fi bollocks. There you go. It is the series is just a lot of sci-fi bollocks for no
to
rhyme
our
or
to
reason.
our British listeners.
Yes, for our British listeners. Yes, thank you.
Yes, yes. A lot of sci-fi bollocks. Yes,
Yes.
I like it. Well, for me, I'm still playing Hades, so I really don't have much to say other than I'm just playing Hades. You know what I mean?
All right. Well,
Um,
next segment. We'll be right back.
yeah. Well, I have been watching some stuff. And So first off, I'm continuing my trek through the old Batman. And so I watched
Oh,
Batman Returns, which is the follow up to the
oh,
'89 Batman. Still starring, of course, Michael Keaton, introducing Michelle Pfeiffer, who was
oh,
pretty
that's
hot
right.
in the Catwoman suit. She was Catwoman, and you had the Penguin.
Yeah.
Um, this movie,
Yeah.
here's my issues with it. First off, I have to once again say I apologize to everyone who, when I said, this is bullshit with Batman versus Superman, he doesn't kill, blah 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 blah. He kills. I think in every film so far, I'm really just gonna go with, yeah, he kills.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, it's a thing that he's been known for. If you don't recall the scene I'm particular, there's a few. There's a freaking clown gang or something like that. The Penguin is the leader of, and his Batmobile freaking shoots fire at one of them, lights him up on fire. I'm like, oh, he's dead. It's like, whoa. And then another one, he
Yeah.
comes with a bomb, like an actual bomb with a stick of dynamite and a thing. And he comes up to this big strong dude, and he's like, go ahead, hit me. And he hits him, and he comes back. He's like, yeah, but now the bomb is in his waist, in his pants,
Exactly.
and he hits him, and he falls into the ground. And you're like, okay, so yeah, another one bites the dust. This Batman
Wow.
is homicidal, guys, and I apologize again for using that. That's not the only reason. I stand by it. Batman versus Superman is not the only reason. The fact that he
Uh,
killed was not the only reason that made that film bad. It was just an additional portion that I didn't care for. But now I have no case to stand on, and
Batman
so
has always been. Batman is honestly, I think he is the villain when you think about it. Because what he does, what everything he does is just pretend to be a hero, never capture or kill or get rid of it. Like if I have a pest at home, I'm not gonna just cage it. I'm gonna kill it. And that's what this bad guy, this all these villains are killing innocents, and he just let them live. He just let them
yeah,
live. You know,
it is. This movie is a Tim Burton film, and this one really feels Tim Burton-y.
oh,
It really feels like Nightmare Before Christmas. It has that
yeah.
weird la 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 la,
Oh
as they're
yeah,
going
yeah.
through the streets and it's snowing, and you're just like,
Mm.
oh my god, this is Tim Burton like at 110%. You know what I mean? And for the record, he did the first one, um,
Which had
but
its own
there's
style.
yeah, which it did, but I think executives were a little bit more involved
Yeah, yeah,
here.
yeah. No, on
They
this
just
one they
gave
let
them the
loose.
keys. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
they
just
let loose. Yeah.
yeah, and so because of that, it has an interesting look, a very Edward Scissorhands, and a specific look. And the problem with the film is that everything looks like it's on a set, and it looks
Mhm.
like they literally have like 5 sets, and every scene
Oh,
is now on a different angle, but within that same set. It's like,
which is
oh
probably
my
true.
god. Yeah, it is. It is. I had to look
Uh,
it up. It was completely filmed on the Warner Brothers lot. You know what I mean? So I'm
wow.
like, no wonder. You know what I mean? Um, Still, it has the best Batmobile, and there's a great scene when he's just creeping down the streets of Gotham, and it's snowing, and the beauty. I think the beauty of this Batmobile is that it's just black. It doesn't have any special lights. It doesn't have anything. Whatever. It's just a beautiful black machine running through the air. Like, this is just a badass fucking Batmobile.
Yeah.
I don't think they've made a better one, and I still say I can't compare it to the Tumbler because the Tumbler is a tank. It's
No,
different.
Tumblr is not
Um,
the Batmobile, guys.
Correct.
Don't
Yeah.
Let's be real.
So anyway, so I watched that, and credit to Danny DeVito. He did a great
Oh, it was a great
Penguin.
penguin. That was
Yeah,
really,
he was really good at his role. I think the plot, or what they were trying to do, it's just, I don't know. It's just, yeah, it was like, okay, they found him, and obviously he's trying to steal the kids, or he's trying to plan something, whatever, and then they want to make him mayor, Penguin mayor, and like, what? Wait, this
I
doesn't
know.
make sense. You know what I mean? So like, okay,
It's a little bit of a stretch.
um, yeah, Catwoman and him. That was actually pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. I always like the Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman, and their relationship and their banter. My favorite line is always when they find out that he's Batman, she's Catwoman, and they're at a ballroom dance. She goes, and I'm spoiling this, guys, from 1992, but she goes, they say a line, and they just recognize that who they are,
Uh,
and she goes, "Oh my god, are we gonna have to start fighting now?" Such a great line, and it's honestly, when you really really think about it, as silly as the line is, it's a question you would probably ask.
yeah,
It's like, wait,
you know.
we were fighting before. Does that mean we have to do this now? You know what I mean?
We're
And
having such a good time.
I know, they would clearly were. So anyway, it's not my favorite in essence. You know what I mean? It has some good, whatever, and I'm glad I revisited it. And this, dude, it's been a long time since I've seen this one, so I'm glad I revisited it.
Yeah, I was trying to think of, and I don't remember a lot of anything of this movie. And this is one that I've actually rewatched.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
that's a rare one. Yeah,
yeah. No,
that's a rare
I feel
thing.
like I feel like the Batman, like back in the day when I had more time, I could rewatch. I could rewatch a movie.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, we all
This
had
one
more
I watched
time.
several times. Yeah,
We
back
all
when
we
we
all
were
had more
babies.
time. Yeah, back when we didn't have responsibilities
There you
and
go.
houses and mortgages and shit like that. Fucking
Exactly.
life, man.
Exactly.
Anyway, um, so all right. So before I get to this next one, I'm gonna just go. I have three. So before I get to this
Uh,
next one, I'm gonna go to the other one, which was another rewatch,
oh,
and one that I don't know if you've seen this, but if you have not, you really, really need to see it. I haven't seen it in a while, but I did catch it on a Prime Day sale and
uh,
bought it, and then immediately watched it again. You know what I mean?
uh,
And it is Christopher Nolan's The Prestige. And
uh,
this is, do you know anything about this? Does this even sound familiar at all?
no, I can't say
No,
it
no, no. Okay.
does.
So this is a film starring Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman, and they are competing magicians. And magicians in the sense of like stage magicians. You know what I
Mm.
mean? And so, but it
Not
also takes place
wizards.
not wizards. No, not real life. This is not Harry Potter-ish. So, these
Thank
are
goodness.
competing magicians
Uh,
who are who are basically always trying to one up each other, and to try to develop the best um, magical act.
yeah.
And obviously, this really solidifies the tale that a magician's secret is they never tell you a secret, right?
Uh,
A magician never reveals its secret, and the reason behind that is because once you do, you're no longer your act is of no worth. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Because now we know how you did it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
magicians, yeah, your magicians' secrets are how they stay in business, how they continue what they need to continue, and how they become better.
Hmm.
And obviously those secrets can be sold and passed along within people. But
Hmm.
magicians, I guess back in the day, also used to watch each other or come to each other's shows and try to emulate them and or try to figure out how they did it and all this stuff. And anyway, this is I don't want to say a lot of
Uh,
it, but this is probably one of Christopher
uh,
Nolan's best films.
wow. And
Um,
I'm curious. Yeah. I'm looking. First off, why does this cover look so dark? Like, what type of movie is this? Because by watching the actual poster,
oh, the poster,
uh,
yeah, yeah.
I I will not guess that it had anything to do with magic, but with magician. Sorry, uh, or anything like that. It kind of looks like a, I don't know, like a mystery
Yeah, like a mystery. Yeah,
drama
I'm
or
looking at it. Yeah, I'm like, it does kind of look like that. Scarlett, you can see the name. Scarlett Johansson's in it.
yeah.
Michael Caine is in it. Um, David Bowie is in it. It's
Okay,
like,
okay.
what's
The
the other guy's
wizard
name?
is there.
The
Actually,
Wizard. Yeah. Why would you not include this man, right?
hello. I mean, waste the opportunity if you didn't. Hello.
For real, for real. It is such an awesome film. Here's a great part of the movie, and also its issue. Its issue in the sense that it merits, or I should say, it definitely merits rewatching
Uh,
because things get revealed as you go along, and when you rewatch it, you start stumbling upon stuff going, fuck, that was in front of me the whole time. Why didn't I not put those together, and so little by little it's like the film itself, it's its own magic trick. And
yeah.
what is magic if not misdirection? You know what I mean? And so Christopher Nolan is just top notch on this. And here's the craziest part of it all. Let me look it up because I just want to make sure I got the right percentage.
Uh-huh.
um but let me see Rotten Tomatoes because here's the part where I'm just like, I can't believe it's got this Rotten Tomato score. You
Oh,
know what I mean?
it's not a good score.
It's well, it's a good score, but it's not like
It's not a
what I
fresh
would expect from this
tomato.
film. It's a 76, which it is considered based on the thing a fresh winner. But I'm like
Okay.
76, and I start looking at other films. Let's use the film you hate with all of your soul, and that's It Follows. It Follows is in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? And while I love It Follows, this film is a lot better than It Follows. I think this film is top notch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And I still stand by. I love It Follows. I get it. I'm just not sure. It boggles me when I look at this score and I just go, man, what was it that people didn't care for? You know, I was like, I don't understand.
I'm putting on my list. I'm actually bumping it to first. I want to watch this actually.
Yes, don't watch the trailer.
Okay.
Just go into it. It is one of those type of films that does a little bit of time jumping, and so it can be confusing. You can probably at some point go, I'm not sure where we're at. It does explain as you go along though, so don't let that frustrate you. But it is, it's so good, dude. And I saw it on the Prime Day sale. I was like, fuck it, bot. You know what I mean? So actually take a look on the YouTube thing on your end. It may be there. I don't know if it's there. Because I bought it digitally. Yeah.
I'm in. I'm watching it. I mean, not now.
So,
we do the podcast, but yeah.
Yeah. It is. I may rewatch it again probably pretty soon because it's just such a good movie. It's a fun movie. It's a fascinating movie. It is, well acted. I mean, we're talking about Hugh Jackman. We're talking about Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan is the director, but oh my God, Batman. You know who I'm talking about. Dear Lord, what was his name? Christian Bale. Jesus Christ. Age, guys. Age is such a terrible thing. But yeah, Christian Bale is also excellent in it. And there's some really, really good plot twists and turns, and it's really good. Actually, that's what The Prestige comes from. Actually, I'm not going to say it. You just watch it, and everybody else, if you haven't already, you really should watch. Christopher Nolan there's a reason why Tenet was an anticipated film for a lot of people. You know what I mean? Because it's a Christopher Nolan film. All right, so the last thing I saw, I haven't finished yet because it's a series, a little series called Cobra Kai.
You're watching Cobra Kai. Wait a minute. Did you started watching Cobra Kai before? Did we talk about this or because nope,
I've never seen it.
This is the first. Okay, yeah. Okay, all right. Now I get to hear you. I mean, you're probably already way farther than I am. I think I left it at 8 episodes and then didn't pick it up.
No,
because I need to.
Yeah, believe it or not, I'm not that far, and they're only a half-an-hour episodes.
Yeah,
I'm only up to episode 4, and I gotta tell you, bro, there's a weird thing. I don't think it's good, but I also can't really. I want to see more. You know, it's one of those things. I don't think it's good. I don't like the aspect of the young people. Like the young people feel like really not great actors. Not that Billy or Ralph Macchio are great actors or anything like that. You know what I mean? But it's just, I mean, truthfully, when you think about it, they've kind of all sit in line together when it comes to their type of acting. But anyway, so the gist is, I'm only up to episode 4. The gist is basically, first off, I cannot, I die laughing when I think about the character, how he was this alcoholic guy. His entire life has been completely changed because of what occurred in Karate Kid Part 1. And so he ends up befriending a Spanish kid who moves into his complex, who by the way this guy is also fairly racist.
Yeah, I was literally gonna say that. I was literally gonna say like, I can see
Lawrence. Yeah, Johnny Lawrence is fairly racist.
Yes.
He goes, when he first meets the kid is, hey, I just moved in here. It's, oh, great, more immigrants. Like, whoa.
I know. Like straight out, like straight up. It's like, holy shit.
I mean,
especially in this day and age, you don't expect it to be so like caught us with it, but yeah, they go.
and then so
Yeah, you see.
he ends up opening a new Cobra Kai dojo, which has been closed for the longest time.
Mhm.
And he does run into Daniel, fuck is his name? Ralph Macchio, Daniel Larusso. He does meet run into Larusso, who he hasn't seen, I guess, since that occurred. So again, all life stopped for our what appears to be our protagonist,
Yeah,
Johnny Lawrence, played by the great William Zapka, and now he's just trying to get back into his art.
yeah.
He's training the kid, and it literally looks and feels like it's the reverse of
Mhm.
the Karate Kid, right? Because the kid is not a bad kid,
Mhm.
and he's trying to train him to just be tough. I mean, maybe not be mean or anything like that, but definitely be tough.
Yeah,
I'm only up to episode 4, so I don't know if he suddenly goes the deep end, but it does pull from when I first saw him dressed up as a skeleton. Even I got flashbacks. You know what I mean? I was like, "Holy
yeah,
shit!" You know what I mean? This is right out of the whatever. And Larusso obviously sees him, and he fucking has flashbacks.
yeah,
So it is definitely an interesting premise. You know what I'm saying? It's not something that I didn't want to see the show because I just felt like, first of all, I saw the trailer and I was just like, "Ugh, this just looks like garbage." You know what I mean? So the trailer does not sell it, people. And to be fair, like I said, I still don't think it's good. You know what I mean? But I think it pulls on your nostalgia a little bit if you are familiar with
yeah,
Karate Kid and ever watched it.
yeah.
So you definitely like those aspects of it, but um I don't know, dude. I just don't know.
No,
Like I'm
keep
not
at
even
it.
sure.
Keep at it. I think First of all, episodes you said. I mean, I don't know if this has changed since Netflix picked it up because this series started as a YouTube Red exclusive.
Yeah,
And if you guys remember, I was talking about this probably a couple of years ago when I started watching it, and I was saying that it is. I didn't like the fact that they were too short,
I do.
but
Oh, I do. If it were longer, I don't think I'd be into it.
you think
Um,
so? Because
Me
it
personally, yeah.
was ending like I was into it. Honestly, I stopped. God knows why. It's just me and TV, bro. I mean, but it is fun. It is one of those, at least the kind of TV that I enjoy. Which is, I don't want to be in the fucking edge all the time. Like, on it. I just want something that is relaxing, that is interesting. I do want to have moments of edge of my seat. I just don't want to be on it the entire time.
Yeah.
And I want to have some laugh because I like comedy. And honestly, this thing, it's kind of comedic. Actually, it's kind of funny, some of the stupid things.
It
uh
is. It is. It has. There's a lot of humor in it.
yeah,
And there is. It's just like I said. It's what bothers me a bit is the kids, but I get it. I get it because in the end, it's like, sure, it's about these two who are older guys, but you got to have some sort of young people, and I get it. I
mhm.
get that that's what the angle they're going with.
I can see it being
Um,
about the, not so directly about the kids, but like I don't think they're just a device. I
there's a
think.
new season coming. I think it's either out or coming out on Netflix. So it has the two seasons from Red because they started there on Red, and Netflix obviously must have paid for it because now it literally says Netflix original.
Yeah, that's
You know what I mean? So it's like,
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
So clearly they paid. They literally just bought it out from YouTube, which makes sense because we all know that fucking Google can't see anything through.
Yeah.
Um, so they just bought it out, and so I kind of see where the seasons are going, and it does look like there's more with the kids that are involved. It's an interesting dynamic that they have with having him train the kid. And I love this one line where
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. He's like wiping the windows down or something like. Is there a way? Is there a specific way? That I should be cleaning the window or something like that? And then of course, no, I don't give a fuck. Just wipe them down. You know what I mean? I was like, yes, that is
I
awesome.
alluded
That's
to
a
the
big.
wax on, wax off type
Yeah,
of thing. Yeah, alluded to that.
yeah,
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious.
that is
Like,
so
what are you talking
fucking
about?
good, dude.
It's like just
No, just fucking clean them. you know. Oh man, it's really good stuff.
That's
I'm not.
funny.
It's that part of it. The funny part is really good stuff. It's just I'm not 100% sold on it, but I'm not stopping watching. I am
Mm.
still curious as it goes. And honestly, the fact that they're 30-minute episodes really, really makes it easier to kind of go in and digest.
Oh,
So
that's
I'm
what
all
I'm
right.
wondering. I'm wondering if now that Netflix has it, are they gonna change the formula? Are they gonna suddenly be longer or something like that?
I don't think so because, like for instance, what is the other one? Black Mirror. Black Mirror didn't start that. Actually, it was a BBC show,
Mhm.
and they went ahead and purchased it, and then obviously brought over the old ones, and their newer ones follow the same formula. It hasn't. They haven't
Oh,
really changed much. The only thing they did do was try new things, like with the interactive film that they did. I can't remember the
yeah,
name, but it was a Black Mirror special,
yeah,
which was a film, and you chose the decisions that the character makes, and so that's about the only thing they tried new, but they didn't really alter the actual formula, which makes sense. It's like, why would you want to alter it? There's a reason why there was a love behind it. Altering is just going to alienate people.
yeah.
And so, yeah. So, but anyway, that is all I've been doing. All right, guys, we're back, and it is time for our useless news that you can use. I'm going to start with the PlayStation 5 UI reveal. And of course, it happened now, literally weeks before the launch, which makes I don't know. Do you think this was a good call on the? Is it too, is are we too late, or are we just on time, or what?
I think, I mean, at this point, we're starving for, whatever we can information we can get about the PlayStation 5, and the Japanese outlets have already been not only getting those previews, but playing games already on it and everything. I think I posted on the group a video that I watched. The entire video was in Japanese, but I was like, well, fuck it. I mean, I don't have any other source, and these people are literally playing and showing the UI and showing everything. So might as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
It's getting close, and people want to know.
I
So I think it
agree.
was good.
And
I think it was
we've
good.
known for all the other prior consoles, we've known way in advance of a launch,
Yeah.
what these type of things look like. So, I mean, I
Yeah.
think if I remember, PlayStation 4's UI was shown on stage at
Mhm.
Gamescom. You know what I mean? Before it got
Ah,
launched.
that's probably what it was. We didn't have GameSpot or Gamescom. We didn't have E3, so it's kind of weird.
I guess. I
But
mean, that's really all we can chalk it up to. But
yeah.
so yeah, Sony has finally shown us what the PlayStation 5's UI will look like. And of course, there are videos all over the place for it. Sony has officially unveiled the interface a few weeks before the console is due to arrive. You can check out videos again all over the place. You'll likely be able to spend a lot more time playing and less time on menus. And it is not just because of the NVMe SSD in the console. Sony says it's built the PlayStation 5's UI specifically to take advantage of 4K displays, and will first start. Excuse me. And when you first start it up, you will see a blinking PlayStation logo and must press the PlayStation button on the DualSense controller to reach the main menu. In this respect, it's very similar to PlayStation 4. The home screen itself, it looks like it's going to be very customizable. A game specific background can be put onto it, just like in the
Mhm.
PlayStation 4. Then, of course, there's a PlayStation 5 control console. In the demonstration, Sony loads right from the rest mode into Sackboy's Big Adventure, and the console's control center is located across the bottom of the screen. You'll pull it up by tapping the PlayStation button. So, for basically, whenever you hit the PlayStation button on the PlayStation 4, it comes out on the left side of the screen. This one has at the bottom looks like tiles, is what they kept mentioning.
Mhm.
Um, So they showed how they were showing off basically how developers can create almost like check-in points within game.
Mhm.
And I don't know, this is just me, I don't know how many developers are going to take advantage of that. I feel like that's going to be just more development time, maybe to even get working. Something
Okay.
else.
You mean like you mean in what sense? Uh, it, because it looks like what you get from the get go is whatever part of whatever last game you were playing is paused on. I mean, that's what I got from it.
For what I got from it, because they had multiple tiles for the game Sackboy,
Uh-huh.
and some portions of it were available to immediately jump in. So your character, so for what I got from it is your character can either go to that spot on in the game and start doing it, or you can literally load from it from the tile. And that's the part that I had got, because those tiles that were showing up were specific levels within Sackboy's adventure. And I was like,
Mm.
oh, that's weird. And I guess it's okay. But you would personally, I would like, unless you just want to jump back to it, you don't want to have traverse to get there. But I don't know. It
Maybe
was a
they're
little bit
safe
odd.
states. Maybe they're safe. Maybe they're safe states.
Maybe they are
They
safe
are.
states. Yeah, that could
Yeah.
be that too. Yeah. Uh, they also showed off via the activities card display for specific games. You will be able to jump directly into levels. There you go. Or challenges rather than loading up the game from scratch. If
Mm.
you have a PlayStation Plus membership, you'll also see official in game help in your activities.
I like
You can even pin video walkthroughs on your screen so you can keep watching while you play the challenge. Not all games will support these, but we expect at least the Sony exclusives offerings to use this feature. Uh, Personally, I guess that's okay. I don't know. I don't know how I felt about it. I felt like that was, I don't know.
the win
I
button.
felt that was like an unneeded thing. Like there's one of
Yeah.
those things where like I wasn't sure we needed that, and now that we have it, it's like I still don't know if we need it, but I
Yeah.
guess it's a thing.
It feels like too much work for what it actually, for the benefit, which is a benefit. It's not only a benefit. And to
Mhm.
be honest, I like it. I like the idea. I'm not sure if I need it. If like if I like if it's like something uh that is a deal breaker. But I like the idea. Say for example, if I'm stuck on something, and the game allows me to see like a hint of it, especially lately the way I've been playing, and because my time is usually less and less and less,
Mhm.
I kind of don't have the time to figure everything out, on my own. And I mean, I will try. I certainly will try. But if it's starting to get frustrating, then I'll just start looking for a YouTube video and just fucking show me. I just need to pass this because I'm not. I stopped having fun already. Uh,
I can see that with like hidden items and stuff like that. I just can't see that with, like, let's say for instance Demon Souls, right? It's gonna, let's say there's a hint regarding the boss or a particular thing, and so like, well, yeah, it can show you, but you still have to do it. You know what I
no,
mean? It's
true. I
not the
know,
same thing.
but
It's like, okay, well, this is the best route to take to do it,
but
but it's
sometimes,
you still
but
got to
that
be able to
helps.
perform it.
That still
Yeah,
help because
yes, that does. Yeah.
you can still, you will see, it's rather than make the mistake and try to figure out what to do, you can see what needs to be done, and oh, now I just need to make sure that I execute as close as possible to what I saw.
I mimic. I mimic as
Yeah,
closely to what it just showed me. Okay.
yeah, and
Yeah.
that especially, it's funny you mentioned because with Demon Souls, especially, that was a game that I just did that on every boss. I had no time to spend trying to figure out how to kill it. I was like, especially since the lore of that is whatever, it's throwaway. I will straight up go to YouTube and be like, okay, what's the name of this boss? Okay, let me check, let me see what it does. Okay, that's what it does. That's what it does. That's what it. Okay, perfect. Now I'm ready. And if I can have that at my fingertips, rather than try to pull up the phone and go to YouTube and all that. That would be cool. I will not expect that to be implemented on every game. Honestly, it almost feels like a feature that at some point is just gonna get abandoned. All because other than Sony,
Yeah,
I
that's the
just
thing. Yeah.
don't see anybody else taking the time to do all that. Maybe they'll end up just linking to a YouTube, to a random YouTube, and that's bad because then you don't know if that person is like very freely with spoilers and stuff like that. And the idea of
Hmm.
this is that it gives you spoiler free
Spoiler warning.
or spoiler warning or I read actually like spoiler free hints. So
Well, I guess it focuses on spoiler free hints because that's if it's coming from the developer. Yeah.
right,
But
right.
it does give a warning if it's something that will give us, because there's sometimes it's just no avoiding it. It's like,
No,
hey,
true.
you're asking, so it is what it
Yeah.
is. But it will give this spoiler warning up front. Um, then the other thing they showed was PlayStation 5's sharing features, which have been beefed up as well. Players in your party can share their screen, letting you view a private Let's Play, and you can even do this picture in picture mode while you play your own game. That was actually pretty cool. I
That's cool.
definitely, I definitely thought that was awesome. The new Create button gives you a preview. Excuse me, they put previous, but it's preview of your screenshot in a menu at the bottom of the screen, and you can easily switch between capturing videos and images. Recently captured media will show up in a card on the home screen, and you can send them to social networks like Twitter or directly to your party. Using the microphone, you can even use voice to text to type a message alongside the image. So that's really all
I
they
like.
showed off. Of the
Yeah.
actual thing. I feel like, and of course they did mention that they're gonna have some more information in the coming, and before launch.
Yeah. And
I don't know, it felt like it was only about 11 minutes long.
yeah.
And I feel like they probably could have made it a little longer just to give more details, but I don't
I
know.
feel like, yeah. I mean, you don't want to make it too long because there's only so much excitement that you can be that you can do about looking at a UI of a new console. Also, you kind of want to leave some things to the player's discovery. I mean, I feel like if you want to look for longer presentations, just Googled out all the
The Japanese
Japanese
one,
YouTube
yeah,
ones because they spend time and they play games and all that.
yeah.
Um, but I don't know what do you think of the layout? Like,
I mean, it's pretty. It looks,
mhm,
and it looks pretty smooth. On
mhm,
top of that, they did show at some point what it looks like when you first load into it. Like if you're not suspended in game,
yeah,
which looks similar to the cross media bar, but a little bit more smaller to the top left.
hmm,
They did also, which I'm glad they did. They kind of separated games versus media. So if you use your PlayStation 4 for, Netflix and all this other stuff, it doesn't get intermingled with
yeah,
gaming and stuff like that. It keeps it off to one side, which is great. They didn't show that menu at all, because again they only spent 11 minutes, so it was like at some point the guy was like, well, we're almost done, and he was like, why are you almost done? Why are you finishing up? Just keep going. But anyway, so yeah, I think it looks pretty smooth. I think it
yeah,
looks exactly, and I'm glad that they did move away from the cross media bar. I think a lot of people, I think you even mentioned like you kind of wanted that, but at the same time, like they went with such a dramatic change to the console. It only makes sense to also say, let's revamp
the
the
UI,
actual the UI. Also, they mentioned that the PlayStation Store is no longer an app. It actually is integrated into the thing, which I'm
yeah,
very curious to see how that would work, because if there's one thing we can all agree with, is accessing the PlayStation Store is just god awful half the time. It's like it takes forever to load and I honestly, I can tell you right now, whenever I've purchased a game, I do it from the app on my phone because it's faster, and I can literally say go ahead and download, because my PlayStation 4 is on standby anyway, and I've done that at work, and I get home, it's already loaded. You know what I'm saying?
well,
But it's
that's
I'm
the beauty of it. The the integration with the UI, certainly you saw that the UI was very smooth as it was moving.
Hmm.
Uh, you didn't notice like icons loading up, and that's a big problem with the PlayStation Store, right? You know, it feels kind of like slow and clunky because it's a separate application that needs to load on PlayStation 4 and prior. But with PlayStation 5 being integrated with it, having taking advantage of the NVMe drives also, which means fast access to all that metadata. Uh, I feel like the experience is gonna be much more improved, if not like seamless. Like you just jump into the store and not even realize. Well, there's nothing to realize. You're not on a separate application. But what I mean is like it shouldn't bog down just because you're in the store anymore.
It
It's just
should,
gonna be
correct.
smooth. Yeah.
Plus, they did mention that you're not going to be able to access PlayStation 3, Vita, a lot of stuff. You can only do PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5
Mm.
games at the store. So it's locked those out. You'd have to access those from those consoles. So or I guess from the app. Like on your phone or something like that. But I can definitely, I can. It makes sense to me why that would be. You know what I mean? Because you really, if you're really integrating it, you really need to let go of those other ones. So it kind of
Mhm.
makes sense. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I like it. I think it looks. I think it's gonna look gorgeous on a 4K TV, and I do like that you still have like you could tell that they have left the option to customize the look of it. Like you can still do probably the theming.
Hmm. I hope
That
so because I
yeah.
have like 30 themes.
I don't think those are
You
gonna
know,
carry over. I think
no,
you're gonna
I
have
don't
to
think
get
so either. Yeah, I don't think so.
PlayStation
But I
5.
mean, because I'm obviously someone who not only got free ones, but I also purchased a few here and there. You know what I mean? So it's like, don't leave me behind, guys. Again, trying to give you money. You guys, for whatever reason, don't want. You know what I mean? So anyway,
PlayStation
what's the next
5
news?
themes. Xbox can recoup the 7.5 billion Bethesda investment without going multi-platform, says Spencer, or so he says. Xbox Xbox boss Phil Spencer is confident that Microsoft can recoup the funds spent on acquiring Bethesda without releasing the studio games on other consoles. Speaking with Kotaku, Spencer says yes, Microsoft will be able to recoup the 7.5 billion investment without releasing Bethesda games such as The Elder Scrolls 6 on other consoles, which, a side note, immediately became the a headline on other gaming sites like confirm the Elder Scrolls 6 not coming to
Oh
PlayStation.
my
It's like
god.
that is not what he's saying. He's just that is not what he's saying. Dude.
The
Uh,
internet.
there's a quote says, I don't want to be flip about that. This deal was not done to take games away from another player base like that, he said. Nowhere in the documentation that we put together was how do we keep other players from playing these games? Uh, we wanted we want more people to be able to play games, not fewer people to be able to play games, and that just makes me. I'm sorry, I had to stop. A small tear coming out of my eye because that is gorgeous. Like, listen to the voice of Phil Spencer. The executive that you want to have. Running anything. He's so good. He's right there, right there. Wasn't that the sentiment that that I've been trying to sing all along, that it's not about taking games away with exclusivity and bullshit, even though the games show exclusive a lot of time on their E3 presentations, but still, this deal was not about taking games away, he says. uh, though he hasn't confirmed if they're gonna or not. Let's see. It says when the acquisition. No, sorry. Um, the quote continues. Actually, says, but I'll also say in the model. I'm just answering directly the question that you had. When I think about where people are going to be playing and the number of devices we have, uh, and we have xCloud, PC, and Game Pass, and our console base, I don't have to go. I don't have to go ship those games to any other platform other than the platforms that we support in order to kind of make the deal work for us, whatever that means. And that's the end of the quote. Now I have to take it back everything I said. Now he's acting like a politician. He's saying, you know, I'm not saying that Microsoft games, the Bethesda games are not gonna come to PlayStation.
He's opposite man. I mean, hello.
Um, when the acquisition was announced, Microsoft said all current contracts signed by Bethesda will be honored. This means the exclusivity deals for the titles Deadloop and Ghostwire Tokyo will be honored. So while Spencer never came out and said explicitly that every single Bethesda or Cinemac game will be a console exclusive, it is quite possible PS5 players won't be able to play the next Fallout or Elder Scrolls game in their system. We already had a topic about this.
Yeah.
So it's still gonna be very mysterious in the way the answer is. It's like I what I'm saying is that I do not see the games coming out on other consoles. So you got the next piece.
Oh, I love your transition. Thank you.
I get nervous when suddenly I heard quiet. It's like, oh, okay, is he there?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I offended him because he's such a Sony fanboy.
I can't believe they're not gonna bring it. What a bunch of freaking losers!
I read it. I read it on the Quarter to Three website.
Oh God!
He said it says Sony is buying Nintendo because Phil Spencer stole from them, and they said that the next Uncharted is an Xbox exclusive.
Wow. Yeah.
And so
I still feel that the reason they have to come out and say that they can recoup this is because it was an astronomical amount. Okay. If you really think back, and I think somebody posted a joke on it that they paid 2 Star Wars for Bethesda, because Star Wars cost Disney $4 billion, a little over $4 billion. You know what I mean? And there's a lot behind that. Hello, there's merchandising behind that. There's everything behind that, right?
Oh yeah.
And you have the films, you have everything that can possibly come out of Star Wars.
And that's just for the franchise. Xbox not only acquired the the ZeniMax and all the Bethesda IPs, but they also acquired the workforce. And it's not just the IP; it's like everybody that is on the red. I mean, which is what you want, because obviously you want to have studios. Hello, I get that, but I'm just putting it together.
Yeah. Like, you bought the stuff that's going to make you money, but you also bought the stuff that you have to continuously pay for, which includes the workforce and stuff like that. So. Yeah. I feel like it was a little bit of an overpayment.
They also bought Doom.
I mean, sure, they bought Doom
and the technology.
Yeah, I would say sure, but yes, they do have id Tech, and yeah, the id Tech is a big thing. But it's not like they're gonna go share that. Who knows if they license that out? Then yeah, you're gonna have a lot of money come back that way. But I don't think they will. You know what I mean? And yeah, Doom is great and all, but it's
It's
I
not
don't know
Star
if it's
Wars.
yeah, it's nowhere near Star. Yeah, when it comes to money, it's nowhere near
Yeah,
Star
right,
Wars. So anyway, that's why I feel like just the fact that he had to come out and say this makes me go, yeah, you guys probably have a little bit of buyer's remorse here. You know what I mean? Just a
No,
little
no,
bit.
no.
Uh,
I don't think it's buyer's remorse. I think this
that
is
was a
more.
joke. Yeah, I don't mean.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say because if anything, this is more towards the investors that might be nervous
Yeah,
about
yeah.
like,
Oh,
wow,
absolutely.
this
Yeah.
was a whole fuck ton of money. But then again, a fuck ton of money for Microsoft, one of the biggest companies in the world, when it comes to money wise, might not be a lot of money for them. For them,
And it's not.
that's
And
why
I, I would
that's why they can
definitely,
do it. You know.
yeah, I would definitely say. Well, here's the deal. I'm gonna stop. Turn around and say it is a lot. It doesn't matter who how big Microsoft is. $7 billion is a lot of money. Period. Even for they can afford it, sure,
Hmm.
and they did it in cash. Yes, they have that. But now you have a $7 billion hole that you now need to fill in with. Because the whole point was to invest in this, right? So
Hmm.
I'm not
Right.
definitely not. I'm not saying it's. We can't just say it's nothing because it is something. You know
No,
what I
no,
mean?
no,
It
no.
is a
It's in
large
no way,
amount. Yeah, yeah. So
in no way it is. But remember, it's a cut to a giant versus a cut to a not so giant.
true,
Well,
true. Yeah, but a not so
this
giant
is not a,
wouldn't even. Yeah,
this doesn't
wouldn't even enter.
necessarily, yeah, this is not necessarily, hurt. I mean, obviously, if they can afford, if they can throw it like that, like just like lay it out. I mean, now if they got had, that's another thing altogether. And
No, and I don't
I'm
think they
not an
have.
analyst or anything like that. And I'm no, I mean, neither do I. But I'm just saying, they saw the value. It's basically it's like the people that spend $3,000 on a video card that costs 1,500, and it's like that guy is stupid as fuck. That's ridiculous. No, that guy has millions and millions of dollars, and
Yeah, yeah.
three
He's
thousand
got the
dollars
money to burn on it.
is,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that was nothing. He could have just given that out to a homeless shelter or something like that. I mean, he should have. But you know what I'm trying to say.
No, no, I get
It's
what you
that.
mean. I get what you
Yeah.
mean. But yeah, I still say there's a reason why that was a question that had to be answered.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And that's
absolutely.
because in the end, yes, you have investors, and rather, yes, they're a big company, and yes, they have investors, and all that. But there has
You
to be
still
an
need to
explanation.
grow.
There has to be a direction. Exactly. You still need to show that this was a decision, a decision you made
Mhm.
out of control. Yeah, you were
Yeah.
control the situation. So I get it, but it's still it to me still like, oof, that was a big price to pay. But anyway, moving on to my next piece. Uh, Cyberpunk 2077 had their
Been delayed for Mad
episode
Dog
4.
only.
Huh?
Have been delayed for Mad Dog only.
It has been delayed for me, but it's purposeful. They had their Night City Wire episode 4 come out with some more information on the game. And it's just a couple highlights I wanted to kind of go over. First and foremost, they showed off the vehicles that you can procure in the game. A lot of different ones, a lot of different looks and feels, and they of course showed off how they designed the sounds and all that. Vehicles look really different from what something that looks like a Pinto to something else that has like four wheels in front and two wheels in the back. It's like, oh, okay. But the design that they were looking at, they also showed off interiors, and the interiors are completely like completely designed. And I gotta say, I'm a little concerned because this is kind of looking like, if you look at everything they're showing off, I'm like, ooh, this is looking very GTA like now, isn't it? You know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, all right, fine. It's still obviously an RPG and all that, but yeah. So they
I
showed
mean,
that off. They
what
also
are they
showed
gonna
off
have? A horse?
I mean, yeah. They did show off also what will be Keanu Reeves' character, Johnny Silver, his I guess his own customized Porsche 930, which they designed basically to look and act and sound just like the original 930.
Mm.
Which is one of those really pretty old looking Porsches. And so that was actually pretty cool. Then they went off to show off the motorcycles, and the motorcycles actually have a specific design, which I thought was actually pretty cool. And that is Keanu Reeves, believe it or not, has his own. company called Arc Motorcycles, and where him and another designer put together these particular type of motorcycles, which again have their own very distinct look to them.
Mm.
And so that look and everything's coming into the game as well. So the motorcycles will be designed and to look this kind of futuristic kind of look to it. You can think when you're thinking in your head, hey, think of a Harley Davidson. Boom, you already got
Uh,
a picture in your head of a chopper or something like that. Think of a Kawasaki motorcycle or Yamaha motorcycle. Oh, okay, boom, you got this Arc motorcycles. They have their own specific look. Looks very different from other motorcycles, but also looks futuristic. And so, first off, it's cool that Keanu Reeves does this when he's not being John Wick. You know what I'm saying? So he is just as badass in a different way in real life. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And of course, he was on the Nightwire, the episode itself, talking about the motorcycles, which I thought it was pretty cool. I don't know if anybody else gives a shit about that. But and then finally they showed off some of the styles that the characters and stuff your character yourself can have depending on where you start in the game. If you are if you're going to be one of the punk rockers or you're going to be one of the corporates, and they have the specific names for each: Kish, Neo Kish,
mm.
and anyway, you can look it up. It was actually pretty cool, the design choices, because you can kind of see where almost like people's status within the game just based
Mm.
on how they dress and the style they're going for. And so obviously these guys are throwing everything into this game. Just every little aspect of this world that we live
Oh,
in, they're going to put into this game, which I'm in shock that it's going to have that much and run on the PlayStation 4. But anyway, so yeah, Night City Wire episode
the,
4. It is available out there now. I've seen them all. I'm just obviously I'm just really into this fucking game. But
sir, for those who don't know,
mm.
what is Night City Watch?
Oh, Night City Wire is. I'm sorry, I thought I
Wire.
mentioned it. Night City Wire is a video series that not Cyberpunk that CD Project Red is done on their YouTube channel and a couple other places, but you can just kind of see it on their YouTube channel. And it's just basically updates on the game and specifics like information I just gave here. And so there's 4 episodes already, and we'll probably get another one before launch. But yeah, so that's what it is.
Okay, good, good, good.
It's like a
I mean,
development series or developer series.
got you. Okay, all right. I knew, but I figured someone might not.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. I want to talk about this one, but honestly, it still doesn't make sense in my head what the hell this is for. Uh, GameStop's Microsoft partnership reportedly lands a cut of digital Xbox revenue. GameStop, as in the place where you used to go pre-order games a long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Many moons ago.
Yes, GameStop and Microsoft freshly forged partnership brings more to the brick and mortar retailer than a preference for Surface tablets and the ability to offer financing options on the next Xboxes, I should say.
Mhm.
According to a scoop from Ars Technica, GameStop is set to receive a cut of digital sale revenues attributed to any Xbox consoles sold through its stores. This includes, according to investors speaking to ours, any revenue from full game sales, DLC, and subscription plans. None of the publication sources were able to shed light on exactly how much of a cut GameStop stand to get from these digital sales, but regardless, the partnership is an interesting one, especially given next generations leaning towards digital-only consoles and the retailer's own troubled finances. There's some debate and speculation from investors about what the percentage could be in the full article, as well as disagreement on if the arrangement covers pre-owned consoles as well as brand new Xbox systems, or if it will include non-game revenue. GameStop, meanwhile, has been banking on the next generation console sales to reinvigorate its struggling financials, as it attempts to weather the pandemic, end of generation sale decline, and brand reboot all at once. However, the revenue sharing deal was a quiet announcement, really only passively referenced in the partnership press release, leading some investors, speaking to ours, to speculate if GameStop take home will be enough to really impact its bottom line uh, when everything is said and done. So,
Okay.
to summarize, they you buy a console, you could buy an Xbox from GameStop, and any purchase that you make on that, GameStop receives a cut. Why exactly?
There's
like, that's
there
that's
was
that's what
some sort of
throws
deal in the background.
that's
It's one of
that's
those
what
things.
throws. I mean, guys, keep in mind we're not analysts. Even the analysts themselves were kind of like in the on a tussle of what does this really mean? I mean, or is the cut is the cut like a little like a small cut that they will get just for selling the console at the stores? I mean, obviously it is something, but what is the percentage, and does it matter? And why is it there in the first place? Like, what does Microsoft stand to gain from that? I don't understand. Maybe it's like very obvious, and you guys could throw it in the comments below if you have and an idea of
I
or something.
wonder if thank you. I wonder if how used game sales was always a thing, right? Always a thing that um PlayStation and Nintendo, they all did their thing to particularly Nintendo, but I think PlayStation was also kind of on like early on, not not recently, obviously, definitely not in the PlayStation 4 because they were like, no, you do use games. But I wonder if they were both consistently against it, and early on, before GameStop became as big as it is, Microsoft bought in a little bit on it. You know what I mean? I wonder if they saw it and said, that's the future. People are going to be able to, sell games. Instead of fighting them, let's buy in on it and we'll make a little bit off of it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That's the only thing I can think of. They foresaw something and said, hey, maybe instead of fighting, we'll make something on this. What do you think? Am I completely crazy?
It's still like I still don't get what Microsoft gets out of it though, because
Well,
it's
aren't they
like
getting a
they
little
don't.
bit from each particular sale? Isn't that what you
No,
just
no,
read?
no, 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 no. Yeah, GameStop is, but what does Microsoft gains from sharing the revenue with GameStop necessarily? I mean,
Oh, it's the other way around. I'm sorry. I heard it differently. I thought it was
oh
Microsoft that was. Oh, then, ooh, I don't
yeah,
know.
no, no, no. That's the part that makes no sense to me. That it's like the I I buy an Xbox, for example, and for every game I buy, every digital game that I buy on my Xbox that I bought at GameStop, uh, GameStop gets a cut for some reason. And I mean, is that for the lifetime? Because if it's for the lifetime, like, what is the revenue? A penny? Because if it's larger than a penny, then then they got a really good deal for no reason. Or 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 is it that they're gonna be forced by what you call it? You know what? Now I'm thinking this is what it is now. Maybe they're gonna be forced by headquarters to push sales of the Xbox now, because hey, that's how they get a cut, just like how they used to get a cut from used games,
Hmm.
or not the cut, they got the fucking revenue of used
The
games,
full thing, yeah.
the full thing. Well, maybe that's the way now. It's kind of like Microsoft coming in and say, "Hey, I heard you guys are in a little bit of a trouble here now that we use games. I think we can work something out. It'll be a shame if suddenly your store will vanish,
Your franchise
your whole
just goes away.
franchise. Maybe
Yeah.
there's no. Maybe we'll give you a cut of our sales if you I'm not gonna say stop selling Sony PlayStations, because let's be unreasonable. We don't want to get antitrust, the Department of Justice involved in this. But let's just say you push some, moms and pops that are looking to buy the next gen console for the kids. Maybe you push them up a little bit towards our side. What do you
Yeah, yeah,
say? You know
yeah.
what?
Talk our side up.
That's it. That's what
I
it is.
mean, it
Nailed
has
it.
to be, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it makes no sense. Otherwise, why would Microsoft be like, oh, we're so big, we have so much money. I mean, look what we did with Bethesda. We just throwing money out there. Hey, let's just go ahead and rescue this GameStop people. Let's go ahead, let's give them a hand. They're not gonna be like that. There's a motive, and I think I might have hit the head with it.
I mean, yeah, that would be still kind of grimy, but then
I know,
again,
totally.
it makes
Yeah,
sense. I
absolutely.
mean, if you have the leverage, why wouldn't you take advantage of it? Yeah, I hear you.
Suddenly, I'm imagining like Microsoft execs being like this mafia, people that act like really nice and really friendly towards you, and they just, they grab you, they kind of like push you to walk with them, and while they're giving you pointers, but they're not really giving you pointers, they're giving you instructions. It's like you will do this or else we're gonna call veto.
Yeah, Vito.
Yeah.
Nice, nice. It's always Vito or Vinny, one of the two, right?
Or Vinny, yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. All right. My last piece, guys, is I'm reading this off of GameIndustry.biz. It is regarding Level 5. Level 5, if you don't know, is the developer of the Nino Kuni series, along with many other stuff, Yokai Watch and some other things. According to multiple sources familiar with the matter, both Level 5 International America and the company's spin off office, which is Level 5 Abbey, began winding down operations in the middle of last year, part of which included laying off the majority of both office staff.
Ooh.
The precise number of people impacted is unknown, as is the number of employees still currently in each office. But sources estimate around 10 employees were laid off at Abbey in the August of 2019, and around the same number laid off in International America. Sources say there's no clear reason for the layoffs, or rather, that no clear reason was given for the layoffs. Though those connected to Abbey say that employees were given quote every indication that the studio would be closing down, with one or two employees remaining for a few more months to carry out essential functions throughout the process, while the company consolidated its business between the Japan office and the international advertising. Additionally, Level 5 Abbey COO and head of Abbey day to day operations, Yukari Hayakawa, is said to have departed the company earlier this year, according to multiple sources. The job. Through the job, though the job is still listed on her LinkedIn page. So, this kind of sad. I mean, I never played the Nino Kuni series. But I always want. It was one of those things where I'm like, I'll get to it. I'll eventually come back around to it. And they had the second one, the second of the Nino Kuni, which I think was well received as well. And
You played as the
uh,
president of the United States.
oh yeah,
Yes.
did you play both of them?
No, I played the first one, but when I saw the what the second one was about, and I read that it was literally the character that you play is the president. It's supposed to be the president of the United States.
Oh
Literally. I mean, not literally in the sense of it's not fucking Trump. It's
yeah,
literally in
yeah.
the
No, I
sense
got you. Mean.
of literally in the sense that it is that was the character and it's supposed to be, and somehow he ends up in this whimsical land. Nina Kuni was very charming and very whimsical, and that was probably the problem I had. That's the problem I had with it. That
That it was
like
whimsical.
one time, well, it was just the way it looked, everything looked, and all. Like my dad visit me one time and walked in on me playing the game, and I just felt embarrassed because the thing just looks so kitty, like for like it looks like a game for babies.
Mm, okay,
It's
fair
you know,
enough.
and that's not to say it is a game for babies. It's definitely a game that requires some strategy, and I heard nothing but good things about it. So like Pokemon,
Hmm.
it's not a aesthetic.
Yeah. So here's a couple of other they've made a lot of games for the record. They did a lot of stuff on Nintendo, so that. But the earliest games, which I've actually played, and I think you have too, the Dark Cloud series, Dark Cloud, Dark Chronicle. These are on PlayStation 2. This is how far back that goes.
Okay.
They also did Dragon Quest 8 on PlayStation 2, Rogue Galaxy,
Yeah.
uh, the White Knight Chronicles. And the rest of them are very similar to that. Little Battlers, more Nino Kuni, Time Travelers. I remember that one. Yokai Watch, which is another. That was a very Nintendo thing, and I
Mm-hmm.
think it even came out to phones. They've been doing a lot of stuff on phones recently too, as well. So that seems to be their main shtick recently. So, um, yeah, man, it's just it's always you never want to when a developer is acquired, it generally breathes new life into it. Unless you're being acquired by EA,
Yeah,
it
no,
brings
and
new life into it. Yeah.
that's the mark of death, then.
Yeah, at that point you're like, "Ooh, your days are numbered, my friend." But everybody else, generally when they're acquired, it breathes like Bethesda being like we just mentioned, Bethesda being acquired by Microsoft, in essence, breathes new life into those things, and I think that's going to help them. Because I feel that they need to really fix that fucking engine, and I think that the capital that they got from this purchase will definitely help out in doing so. So usually that's a good thing, and that's why it's like, man, it's a shame nobody acquired them, and they're just kind of shuttering their doors and
Yeah, I was
closing up.
gonna ask
But
that. Like where's the rescuer for this? I mean, they definitely have some pedigree, some
they do,
good
yeah, they
game
do.
IPs, and some talented people. So yeah, that's a shame. That's a
It
loss,
is.
man. That's a
It
loss.
is. I agree.
My last piece is also about a loss in a much lesser extent, thankfully, but I think it was also kind of overdue. Don't expect any more new content for StarCraft 2. The game that
Oh
when I
dear.
got the game that when it got announced with that, damn, it's about time, was my Final Fantasy VII for you moment of yes, I was jumping in joy and happiness and like crying because there is a God and he heard my prayers and I wanted StarCraft to continue because StarCraft is one of my favorite games and sci-fi of all time. Hint hint. We're gonna talk about that. So and I played that, and then of course Activision acquired Blizzard, and I was something bad's gonna happen, and indeed it ended up something bad ended up happening when suddenly the game was announced that StarCraft was gonna have three separate games for some fucking reason. They were able to make StarCraft one with all three campaigns from all three races. Uh, they were able to make it in one game, but no, this one somehow had to be three different titles and three awesome collector's editions that I will never forget. I have them right there. Anyway, StarCraft 2 will no longer receive new content. Developer Blizzard has announced just over 10 years since the game's original launch. So, hey. Uh, but the iconic real-time strategy game will continue to receive ongoing balance fixes and season roles, and Blizzard will continue to support the game's professional esports scene. What esports scene? I don't. I guess those used to be exciting esport matches, and you barely hear about them anymore.
Well, there is a pandemic,
No, no, no. I mean,
and
in general. I mean, like
oh,
before, like years and years, ever since Dota. At the moment Dota exploded, it took. StarCraft with it. And unfortunately, it almost like it killed that whole uh that whole esports scene. Unfortunately,
Mm.
in a blog post, Blizzard said the good news, as they say here, was that it will free us to think about what's next, not just with regards to StarCraft 2, but the StarCraft universe as a whole. Oh, please God, let it be StarCraft 3. Oh, wait a minute. No, I'm boycotting Activision. Fuck. Then whatever. I don't care. Uh, with Blizzard launch, will Blizzard launch another RTS sequel, or does the future of StarCraft, like in another form or genre? We'll have to wait and see. Regardless, today's news marks the end of an era for one of Blizzard's biggest and most played games, and another big chance for the developer itself. Then they go. The quote goes, "We're not planning a Q4 balance update, given that we did one a few months ago." Blizzard's Rob Britten Brittenbecker wrote. Sorry, I mispronounced that. But as always, we do plan to continue doing them as needed in the future. StarCraft Esports, StarCraft 2 Esport is part of the highest echelon of professional competitive gaming. Will also continue going strong as it has been through our partners, ESL Gaming and the GSL. So, I mean, I think it's fair. I think it's.
Yeah.
I mean, it's overdue. They're being. I mean, they haven't been releasing any new particular content as far as content goes. Like, certainly not anything single player aside from that little foray that they did. I think it was called StarCraft 2 Nova or something like that. Uh,
Hmm.
which was like a small expansion. Actually, I started playing that and I never continued it, so that should tell you something. But it's StarCraft 2 is kind of long in the tooth already. It still looks great, and I still really love those games, and I enjoyed a hell of a lot when they came out. I was never part of the multi. Like, I don't do multiplayer, so like I never participate. I mean, I played with my friend Javier one time, and he like destroyed me because he
Oh
had been
wow,
playing
really?
a lot more. Yeah, he has been playing a lot more because he does play online and he ranks and everything. So even when he took it easy on me, he destroyed me. I didn't know what I was doing. Uh, but the StarCraft that universe, I've always loved what they've done with that universe. It reminds me a lot of the universe of what's that series, Serenity? What's the story
Oh,
original?
yeah, Firefly.
Firefly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It has some Firefly with like aliens
Oh,
and Predator even. It's kind of weird. It was really awesome. I do like the StarCraft. Long live StarCraft, and here's hoping for StarCraft 3, even though I won't get to play it because
because it's never coming.
fuck Activision. Fuck Activision.
Oh man. All right, guys. Give us a moment. We'll be right back with our hot topic.
Heck. I do want some explanation to this trending because I mean I bought that game again. I bought that game
Some of
again and with
yeah.
the intention of replaying it because I
Yeah.
remember having a really good time with it.
We
The
did.
music, I got
An
the music.
unexplainable good time. Yeah, it was like I don't know why I want to take this package across the plains. I don't know why. You know what I mean? And it's just it's very good. I almost want to watch it again. It's such a well done thing.
Mhm.
Um, for the record, he did the one that caught me. The reason I even came to his channel was his take on fucking hell, Last
Star
of Us
Wars?
2.
Oh, that's what.
No, The Last of Us 2. No, he has nothing on Star Wars, and that says everything. But anyway, He did a thing on Last of Us 2, and that's another one. I think that one was like 58 minutes long. Um, obviously don't watch that because you haven't played the game, but I have played the game, and I
Shit,
almost
that's
made
right.
it.
I haven't played the
I
game.
played it 1 and 3/4,
Uh-huh.
because the next game came out. I couldn't finish it the second time, but I kept going back, and I'm like, why am I still playing this game? I just don't. You know what I mean? I wasn't sure how I felt about the game, and he took his how he felt. 'Cause there's just certain people who can really verbalize things,
Mm,
and he does it in his videos, and it just suddenly goes, yes, that's exactly why.
yeah.
Or that's exactly why, and whatever. And again, I don't 100% agree with him on a lot of on some of the things,
Mm,
because he has his own insight on it. You know what I mean? But there are other stuff that I was left with question marks,
uh,
and particularly in Last of Us 2, where I was just like, I don't understand why people hated this particular character. I didn't.
because people, well, I can't say because I haven't played.
Yeah.
I might,
Anyway,
I might be a hater too.
you might be. You actually. Who knows? Um. Anyway, we're
Anyway,
back, guys, and it is
we're
now
back.
time for our hot topic of the week.
Hot topic.
Yes, the hot topic again, guys. It is our favorite sci-fi.
Oh shit! It's our favorite.
It's
I
our
just thought we were just gonna do a sci-fi dump, and I have a list of 500 sci-fi universes, and I was just gonna name it one by one. That's gonna be the hot topic. That's gonna be
well,
the entire
then
topic.
buckle up, guys, because we're going to be here to about 3 a.m. So,
All right. So, Annihilation, Arrival, The Martian, Edge of
oh,
Tomorrow, Ex
oh,
Machina, Guardians of the
oh.
Galaxy, Interstellar. I can't. I got tired already.
Okay, well, I recognize a lot of those. I honestly, I'm actually a little bit shocked that you've seen a lot of those, which I'm actually also impressed. so, so I'm happy that we're all on the same page.
There you go. And that's the topic.
Yes,
I
yes,
have watched
absolutely.
a lot of sci-fi.
That's good
No,
though. That's good. See, I wasn't sure. Um, because with films, you do watch certain things, but you're not, you're well, you know how you are. I don't, I
yeah,
don't want to put words in your mouth, but
too
anyway,
passive. It's just gonna,
yeah, yeah.
I already
So
watched
what
Raised
to
by
do?
Wolves, so.
Yes, let's leave that one out of this conversation for the record.
By the way,
Um,
did I ever mention how like like the show Raised by Wolves? It starts with what has to be one of the most bewildering openings of any series that I have watched. It's the lyrics of the lyrics themselves make no sense in putting them into words together. So it kind of sets up the tone of the series.
it does. It
it's,
does.
it's just a bunch of, you will think that Beck made this, wrote the freaking lyrics for this title.
It does. Yeah, it does. There's some
And-
concepts within Raised by Wolves that I do find fascinating.
mm,
Particularly how she was able to well, I guess this is a little bit of spoilers here, but how she was able to like grow the kids. You know what I
oh
mean? And
yeah.
I was like, oh, that's weird. There were frozen embryos in a ship, and she was, I don't know, some fluids from her. I don't know. We're gonna leave. We're gonna talk about freaking that. But I wanted to kind of go over what we were looking at doing. Basically, we want to kind of highlight some of the best sci-fi, but also particularly the concepts that particular sci-fi, either invented
Mhm.
or highlighted or made better. You know what I mean? It was invented over here, a particular story or movie, and this one took it and ran with it with a whole different aspect. And so that's really what I want to do because I love sci-fi, and
Yeah, me
I
too.
am yeah, really think about it. It's like, man, that's the genre that I freaking love. It's not, believe it or not, it's not something that's easily accessible. It's definitely one of those that you have to unfortunately suspend disbelief a lot of times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's because if you don't, you're going to just be calling shit out all the time.
Yeah,
It's
we're
like,
talking about
no,
things that haven't been invented, you know.
correct. Yeah, exactly. So it definitely requires that, but I think it also requires a lot of setup, and I think that's where a lot of sci-fi screws up,
Yeah.
because the setup isn't either rushed, not done correctly, or contradicts itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just
Yeah.
like, or when I say not done correctly, not done fully, or contradicts itself. Because if you do a half-ass job in setting up, the sci-fi, you're going to leave your audience with questions.
Mhm.
If you do, basically you need to have that all set up in order for people to understand what's going on and not question certain things. So,
Yeah.
um, I'm going to start with a silly one because I kind of like it, and I think you did too. Um, when it comes to sci-fi,
Mhm.
what better thing is there than giant robots? Okay, if giant robots does not come to mind when you immediately think of sci-fi, I don't
Give up
think you
your
know what sci-fi is.
give up your cred. Yeah. Now at that
Yeah, yeah,
point, or you were too focused on the space aspect of it and not the ground aspect of it.
yeah,
But
yeah, for sure.
yeah,
Um,
big
so
mistake.
I am gonna have to, when it comes to giant robots. I got to. I mean, sure, Iron Giant, whatever, but that's animated. You know what I mean? I'm gonna
Hey, we
go
can talk
with.
about those too if we need to.
I mean, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Pacific Rim, dude. Because if there's one thing I absolutely loved about that was just the scale, the design. You know what I mean, of how
The Jaegers.
the Jaegers. Yeah,
The
thank you. I
Jaegers.
was gonna say Kaiju's. Like, wait, no, that's the bad guys. The Jaegers that they designed. It was, I mean, Guillermo del Toro, man. That man he's got special effects down. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And he delivered in spades when it came to, you know, I mean, when I explained to people who didn't know what Pacific Rim was at the time, I'm like, it's giant monsters versus giant robots. That's what it
Yeah.
is. I mean,
It's a
if you're not interested,
smorgasbord of greatness.
yeah, I know. If none of that makes it sound good, then just steer
They,
clear. It's not for
then,
you.
may I recommend you watch Lord of the Rings
Yeah,
or The Hobbit or Harry Potter or get the fuck out.
yeah. Oh, well, you're being nice. I'm like, can I recommend a film called The Notebook? You probably will like that one.
That notebook. Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't like freaking monsters versus robots, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think we can
Wow,
talk.
that's harsh.
I don't
That's
think we can relate.
I don't think you can talk. I don't think you can talk with them now. They must be so offended. Shit.
So
No,
yeah,
I'm with you. Pacific Rim. I mean, let's call it what it is. Pacific Rim at the end of it all, it is kind of cheesy, but in a very good cheesy way. And I'll tell you
yeah,
another movie that
absolutely.
is nothing but cheese, and you're just gonna swim and love that cheese because it's super stinky, and you're gonna love it. But but one of the things I really like is that it's sci-fi, but this one though, I don't feel like you need to strain yourself too much in explaining. I mean, you see it right away. It's giant Godzilla-like monsters and giant robots to fight them, and the movie starts kind of explaining, the thing as if it was needed, um, or it gives you like a short blurb about it, but it's awesome. The concept itself is awesome. This giant robots are so big you need two humans to control them and they need to be synchronized,
Yes,
in a
yes.
way. All of that is stuff that we haven't seen
Yeah.
and in other things. Maybe in like anime something, but
Possibly. Yeah,
it was
possibly.
yeah, it was great. It was definitely Yeah, shit, I can't believe I didn't think about, about
Oh
it.
no, dude, that was like on my list. I was like, I mean, again, when you think sci-fi,
Mm.
it's just robots, robots,
Uh,
robotics, any of those things. And I was like, when I think of robots, I mean, I'm going to think of the biggest. And yes, Iron Giant again did come to
uh-huh.
mind immediately, which is an awesome film for the record. So you really should see though if you haven't seen it. But man, Pacific Rim is just it's fun. It's a fun movie. You know what I mean?
All
And
right.
and I watched it so many times. It's ridiculous.
All right, all right, all right. Well, okay, that's a very good starter.
I agree.
I'm gonna go and preface my starter, uh, and I'll ask. It's a movie that has the military. It has ships.
Okay.
It has it has alien that looks like giant bugs, and you
Okay.
have troopers. Do you want to know more?
Nice. That's a nice way to get into it. Yes. Starship Troopers, I assume.
Yes. Starship Troopers is now here. That's the mega. I should have saved that one for last. That's a mega cheese of a movie, and and it's one of those where it's the movie is more than the sum of its parts, and there's a lot of parts. Let me tell you,
Yeah, they are.
because he tries it doesn't like it doesn't try to hide the fact that it's not taking itself too seriously, even though it's not a comedy. It's not supposed to be like the humorous things that happen. They happen because they're kind of ridiculous, not
Hmm.
necessarily because they're going for you know slapstick comedy or anything like that. That's not what this is about. It's just the the setting. Suddenly we're getting invaded by these monsters that look like giant bugs,
Yeah,
and you
yeah,
have this
exactly.
group of the Earth Defenders. I think there was a game that came out a while back, and we played it, and it was on PS3, and we had a
Alienation?
which one? Which one?
Was it Alienation?
Yes,
Yeah,
Alienation.
yeah, yeah.
That reminded me. That it reminded me of that game, because you have a lot of like I don't know about acting, but I wouldn't necessarily call them like A-list actors or anything like that. In my opinion, I don't know. Maybe some
I
Oscar
mean,
winner there, or I
Neil
mean, you have
Patrick Harris,
Neil Patrick Harris. Take it
yeah.
aside from Neil Patrick Harris, of course. That man is in a pedestal in
Yeah,
another level.
he
But
is.
even
Yeah,
then,
he is.
I feel like he had. I'm not sure if he had accomplished that level just yet when this movie came out. Uh, and it was. I mean, what do you think? What can be said about freaking Starship Troopers? That
It is. First off, it emphasizes the message, right? Because another game that really I think emphasizes uh, or is more Starship Troopers is the Helldivers. I think Helldivers was a
Helldivers, yeah, Helldiver might have been the
was
one
what
that.
because it had the patriotism,
Yeah,
being part as a citizen, you got to put in, whatever you got to
you gotta
become
do your
whatever,
part. Even
do
little
your
kids
part,
were
yeah,
doing their part
yeah, yeah,
for the
yeah,
war
exactly.
effort. I'm doing my
And then
part.
yeah, exactly. And then on top of that, you had, I mean, it's a war film, really is what it is. When
Yeah.
you look at it, you had the tragedies of war. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit bummed when Diz died. What I mean? Spoilers, by the way. But
Yeah.
when,
Oh,
yeah, but
that's
when
fine. Nobody knows who they haven't watched the movie. And if you haven't watched the movie, do yourself
you're
a
not
favor,
going to,
separate some
yeah.
time. No, you should. You definitely should.
I
This
mean,
is
you should, but if you haven't watched
uh
it, you're probably not going to. Fun fact: the blonde kid that played Ace, that's actually Gary Busey's son. So he has a
oh,
little heritage there. His name is Jake Busey. Um,
oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Denise Richards, which was the love
His
interest,
picture was
or
that,
the
yes.
yeah, yeah. So what does it say to me? this is the type of guy I am, right? So you have Denise Richards, who is obviously, I mean, she was a femme fatale in a lot of. I think she played Christmas something in James Bond.
uh,
But for me, man, it was always Dizzy. I'm not gonna lie, Dizzy Flores. I don't know why, but I just always found her to be very attractive, and I don't
oh
know.
yeah,
You know,
absolutely,
so,
without a doubt, without
yeah.
a doubt.
When she finally got together with a guy, I was like, this is special. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. So, but yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one with the I guess you can say the alien, right? The alien aspect of sci-fi, right? That's a
Yeah.
fun one, but also graphic, right? They didn't really pull back from the graphic nature. I mean, when
No.
that one blob alien sticks a spike into the head and just basically drains the brain out of the, I was like, ooh, this is
Oh.
kind of harsh.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. But it's always in a it almost reminds me of Night of the Living Dead level of
Mm-hmm,
graphicness,
mm-hmm.
which was not comical is not the word, but
Dark. It was
it's
dark humor.
gross, but
Yeah,
it was more dark humor than
yeah.
like gross, even though it's kind of gross. I mean, that movie started with someone getting torn apart. So it's
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of crazy.
Oh, and the guy, the one with the robotic hand, which was the leader of the Roughnecks, Michael Ironside. Oh,
Michael
he was
Ironside.
awesome. Michael Ironside is bad fucking ass, guys.
That's how
Let
you
me
know
tell you.
it's one of those movies. Yeah, that's how
Yeah,
you know it's excellent.
for real. That is so. That's a great selection. Great selection. Um, I'm
Was that on
gonna
your
try.
list?
I'm gonna. Huh?
Was that on your list?
No, actually, it wasn't. No, it was not on my list at all. Yeah, but that's a great one. I am going to mention one that I think is on your list, believe it or not. But the reason I'm going to mention it is because it is also an alien invasion, and the reason I bring it up is because it is the film that we were able to see how an exoskeleton would work in combat, and we
Mhm.
watched it in full like action, and that is Edge of Tomorrow, which
Oh,
was
that is the. I saw that several times. I didn't put it on my list.
oh, you didn't put it
Edge
on.
of
I thought you
Tomorrow.
had it on your list. Yeah. So did you watch the movie?
I want to say yes because I kind of remember the settings on that, but you know how I'm not great with remembering, especially Edge of Tomorrow. What the hell? When the hell was Edge of Tomorrow?
Edge of Tomorrow is with Tom Cruise, and it has Emily Blunt. Which I know the fact that Emily Blunt's in it, I'm like, I know you had to have seen this.
Oh, but yeah, but probably got yeah, but it's probably the Tom Cruise aspect of it. This was by the time that Tom Cruise is just too crazy to be taken seriously now on the movies. Same reason I haven't seen uh Mission Impossible or anything like that. It's because by that
Oh,
time
okay, okay.
I don't have I can't see. I see him on the screens and I just think, okay, this is the crazy dude. This is just, yeah,
So
no, I
first
can't
of
do
all, because it's sci-fi, and
it.
because Emily Blunt's in it, you got to do this. You got to watch this one. This is a
Oh
really
shit.
really
I guess I'll
excellent
have to.
sci-fi film. First off, the exoskeleton that I was mentioning is the soldiers have these essentially exoskeletons. They're like almost like you remember the movie Aliens when Ripley gets into that
Yeah.
that exoskeleton that kind of way, but instead of moving as slow as she did, they're moving at fast pace. You know what I mean? It's like,
Hmm.
whoa, this is like it is really really cool. I'm not even gonna lie, it is really cool to watch. This is an alien invasion film. There is an alien invasion happening in on Earth, and then Emily Blunt is actually the leader of almost like a Roughnecks, almost like a group of badass whatever. And she, everybody else is going out there with a fucking gun. She's going out there with a sword. Okay, so I'm like, okay, so she is that badass. You know what I mean? And it is that's honestly the just the exoskeleton portion of alone makes it awesome. There are some other elements in there. I won't spoil them if you're not familiar with them.
Mhm.
Um, but this is also has been compared to a video game movie, which
Oh.
is if you understand what happens in video games, you would understand why the comparison is even made in here. But I can definitely highly recommend this film. And yeah, I hear you. I hear you about Tom Cruise, and I'm the same way when it comes to it. But there is the name of the film, believe it or not, or the name of the book that it was based off of was called Live, Die, Repeat. And if that makes
Oh,
sense, then that makes sense. You
that
know what I
makes
mean?
sense
If
with
that makes sense,
what happens in games. Yeah.
exactly. Yes, yes. So that's the portion of it that, so that's the original name. I don't know why they changed the name, Edge of Tomorrow. To be honest with you, you're going to watch the entire film and then go, I don't understand what Edge of Tomorrow is. You know what I'm saying? So it's a dumb change. I was obviously done by some fucking corporate guy who said, we have to make it something else.
No.
Because I think the book was called Live, Die, Repeat. You know what I mean?
Oh.
So it's like, why would you just keep the fucking name? What's wrong with you? You know what I mean? But anyway, so
Yeah.
yeah, so that's Edge of Tomorrow.
I just want to remind the listeners, this is in no way this is a comprehensive list
Oh
because
no, no, not at all.
I mean, there's tons of movies and post, but post your favorites. Also, I even though there are some there's some books that I would include if it wasn't for the fact that they're already part of a franchise that I will mention the name anyway. So when I'm including that franchise, I'm talking about in the sense of the universe itself. So I can't for the life of me think of a particular sci-fi oriented exclusive
Book.
book that I would say, oh man, this universe was fantastic. Uh, that wasn't something that's already like on film or anything like that. But anyway,
Yeah, the one I can think of is do androids dream of electric sheep?
oh yeah, no, I
Yeah,
haven't read that book though.
which is essentially the story of Blade Runner. It's not
Mm,
exactly the same, but it's like obviously Blade Runner became something a little bit more different.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's the original. So in those aspects, sometimes you can't even see it. But um, I'm glad you mentioned that real quick before you move on to your next one. I did want to shout out here. We did have a comment on the post, and I wanted to give it before I forget. And that is Jose Maldonado wrote, I got to be honest, with as many legendary sci-fi films as we've gotten over the years, and then in parentheses was Blade Runner, 2001, Space Odyssey, Star Wars, etc. I always have a special place in my heart for the first one that made me fall in love with the genre. And then he has a little post of The Fifth Element.
Oh,
Oh shit.
MG! That's it. He got the one that neither one of us had on our list because
I don't. I honestly do not have that on my.
I
I
do
mean, not
not
to
have
say it's a
the
bad
Fifth
film. Yeah, yeah.
Element. The Fifth Element was
Yes,
fantastic. Yeah, that's
it
right.
was. Yes,
It's one of those movies.
multi-pass.
Multi yes. Oh my God. I was gonna say it's some of these franchises, some of these movies, or animations or games or whatever, they're pillars. They're
Yeah,
stuff that
for sure.
you don't want you want to make sure that you have included on your list. I'm not one to speak because I have some glaring holes on my list.
As do I.
But no, that's a fantastic Fifth Element.
The Fifth Element.
Bravo!
Yes.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Exactly.
I love
Exactly.
that. Give my love to that, sir, man. Um,
Will do.
let's see. What do I have? That is. Oh, okay. So this is this was a series that was released a while back. I never watched the original series, but I watched the remake. I guess you want to call them, or the continuation, whatever you want to call them,
It was.
and
If it's what I'm thinking, it was a continuation. Yeah.
it was insanely interesting. It was probably one of the best things I watched on television, uh, aside from Breaking Bad, in the sense of I don't binge. I fucking binge on this series because it was that good, every episode. And it's not. I feel like that was hard to accomplish back then, because now I feel like a lot of series, there's like a formula that Netflix and Prime and all these streaming companies have found or devised. HBO is really good at that also, where they can make a series that will have you binge, because they can offer the option to binge.
Mhm.
When you can get everything a la carte. Well, that was very difficult to pull back in the day when you didn't have, you know, a oh, I just want to watch this. Let me just put it a la carte. You had to wait for the next for the next week. That series, my friends, is the 2000s Battlestar Galactica.
Oh shit balls.
Battlestar Galactica is a series that I will even tell you, Mad Dog. It's a recommended watch, because every episode of that was an interesting thing that was happening. And it always have that backtrack continuation sub story, right? But it
Mhm.
also have like the plot of the week, if you want to call it that. Not always. It usually run like a soap opera uh, series would,
Yeah. Yeah.
where the plot doesn't just get resolved in that one episode. But it was always very, very, very interesting. It had an amazing cast, of actors that you were very, very involved into what will happen to them, or what was happening to them. For those who don't know, Battlestar Galactica takes place on so far away galaxy. It doesn't say. It's the planet Caprica, is what I remember. I watched
Yeah.
this a long time ago. The planet was Caprica. By the way, there is actually a movie called Caprica that it's a great way to start the series. You start with that, you watch the whole movie, and then right there you pick up episode one, and it's
Oh, nice.
fantastic. It is a fantastic introduction, because it set up the stage towards what happens. The reason why, you know suddenly this people has to abandon the planet and get into these ships and find a new place to live. Basically, you know, all the meanwhile, there have been constantly attacked and harassed by this race of robots who have already gotten their technology so advanced that now they actually they start looking like humans and acting like humans, even though they are Cylons.
Yeah.
They have come. That's why I said I think it's a continuation of the old series. Because in the old series, you will see the robots, and I'm talking about this series was from the 70s, and you'll see the robots, and they will look like fucking walking tin cans, basically,
Yeah.
because it was that look. It
Yeah.
was very 70s. I mean, I'm sure that was like state of the art back in the day, but it always looked very cheesy. Well, this almost starts with the robots looking like a modernized version of that a little bit. So
Mhm.
and enough to make it recognizable, but not enough to look like, oh man, that looks fucking ancient. You know, just enough to make it recognizable, just like a throwaway to that era. But uh, you see the newer models, and the newer models, like one in particular, is oh my god, what's the name of this actress? She was in actually Death Stranding. Um,
That's
oh my god,
Stranding.
she was in
Oh,
Death Stranding. Yes.
was
Uh,
she was
she
she the
is. She is the president and the sister or whatever, or the
Oh,
operation.
yes, yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
man, whatever.
Yes.
She,
I forgot
she
her name.
I forgot her name too, and hoping that you can actually look it up what I think about it. But
Yeah.
anyway, um, so it's this gorgeous looking lady on a red dress, and
Trisha Janine Helfer.
thank you. Yes, that's her. That's her. She's awesome. The entire
She's
cast of
gorgeous,
this
yeah.
is awesome. What I would say, it's this. this series have been criticized for not really sticking the landing on
Hmm.
the finale. Um, and I will say I was very critical of it back in the day. In retrospect, I think I might have been a little harsh, or either that or I'm misremembering. I still think that it doesn't take away in any way from the actual series for what it brought,
Okay.
and what it brought was fantastic.
I gotta say, I started watching it and I got probably
Oh, that's right, you
season
did.
two ish. Yeah, yeah. I got season two. I remember when Boomer, there was a like a copy of Boomer. There was a Cylon Boomer,
Yeah.
and Boomer was played by the Asian actress. I think she's Asian.
Yeah.
Let me go back over here.
Let's see.
Yeah, Grace Park.
Chris Park. Yes.
Which I mean, beautiful
Yeah.
for the record. And of course, so I remember she was with one of the guys, but I think it was a Cylon copy that was with her. But I don't think she knew she was a Cylon copy, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly. And so yeah, I remember that. I think I got a little bit past that, and then somewhere along the line, I heard, oh, the finale is not good, and I was like, oh fuck, I don't
Oh,
want
and
to
you
put
got
any more
turned
time
off.
into this.
Oh
That's what
no.
did it. That's what did it. Because I was in, dude. I was in,
Were
and
you
I
get?
honestly, to be
Were you ever
fair,
given? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Finish.
no,
Finish.
I was gonna say, to be fair, I probably would go back, but I'll have to start from the beginning, and it's just me. That's just how I work, guys. Is I know it's stupid, whatever, 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 but that's how I work. I would have to go back from the beginning, but I remember enjoying it. I remember really being into it, and of course, obviously, love Starbuck. Hello,
Oh,
let's be real
oh,
here, guys. You know what I
that's
mean?
yeah, that's another actress that it was like I was like freaking in love with how awesome she was because she was such a badass and she was oh my god, it was
Yeah.
amazing. Every time she would smile, it was like freaking melt me. Because anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, so did anybody spoil the ending for you? Did anybody mention what was
Yes,
the
you
reason?
told me. You did. It
Oh
was
god
you,
damn
my
it! What
friend.
did I do that? Why did I do that? Did you give me permission, or you were
I'm pretty
just
sure I
quiet?
did, sir, because you wouldn't do it on,
No, I
you
would
wouldn't do it
never.
by accident. So,
Oh,
yeah, I obviously did give you permission, and you had kinda give me the gist, and I
yeah.
was like, "Oof, that's yeah,"
Remember, I don't explain stuff very well. I'm usually very bad. I stutter a lot. You don't have to trust me. You can. I didn't like it follows. That
Wow, that's
fantastic
awesome.
piece of art. So don't trust my judgment. I mean, make up your own.
That is awesome. Sir, for the record, I freaking love you because that is freaking awesome. That that was
Excuse
great. That was
me.
great.
Let's call spade a spade. I'm not great. Also,
So, all right.
Starbucks. There you go.
Also
And
Starbucks,
she
yes,
was
for
called
sure.
Starbucks. All right. She was called
Yeah,
Starbucks.
yeah. That was her real name. That was
That's
her
it.
real name,
That's it.
and she fucking earned that damn name.
Yes, she was.
Because she was a
Yes.
badass freaking pilot.
The music
Uh,
on that is amazing, and they didn't have a lot of space fights, but when they did, it's
yeah,
the most realistic
yeah,
realistic
because
in the sense
they would
of
use
sci-fi.
yeah, they would use it wasn't like thrusters and it was like this little like thing that's really all you need to fly around in space. Just a little whatever spray shit that they would use to fucking move around.
Yeah,
And I
well,
was like, "Oh,
it was sort of like mini thrusters, but it wasn't. But the cameras were not like perfectly aligned satellites that will always take a perfect shot. No, it was always like someone holding a camcorder or something like a shaky cam,
yeah, yeah.
but somehow the action was there. And every time you heard the sounds and the explosions, they were not this big oxygen filled explosions or as if you can make sound in space. It was always be just
Muted."
to keep the
Yeah.
duration of an explosion. It was always be very muted. Same thing with
Mhm.
the shots. The shots will not sound like pew, pew, pew. It was always very muted, and they will always have this primal sounding, drum rhythm to every space fight, like and it was intense, man. It was
Yeah,
intense. Anyway, we can make the whole topic of Battlestar Galactica. We should probably like
for sure. For sure. Moving on. Moving on. Yeah. So the next the next concept I want to bring up is something that happens frequently. It happens so frequently that I'm going to use three sources, but my third source will be the source that I want to focus on.
Mhm.
And that is, what does it mean to be alive? Obviously, sci-fi
Mhm.
delves into this deeply when it comes to androids, when it comes to synthetics. If you want to go into the alien universe,
Sure,
when it
see.
yeah. So the first one, obviously, Blade Runner. With
Yep,
replicants, that is a huge thing within within that entire series of films
yep, yep.
and
Battlestar
shorts.
Galactica with Silence. Hello.
With Cylons, yep, exactly, because they obviously, some of them don't know that they are, and that's the whole deal. Is that just because they don't know that they are, does that suddenly mean that they're not alive?
Yeah.
And so yeah, so Blade Runner does that. I want to give shout out here to a game that I've played that also shines on, and that's Detroit Become Human. An
Detroit Become
excellent,
Human.
yeah,
Holy
an
crap!
excellent game.
Not on my
Uh,
list, but yes, that should have
Yes,
been.
you have the game because I remember giving it to you. I don't know if
I
you've
have the
played it.
game. I have the game. That's true.
Yeah, so that is
Oh yeah.
a great game. This is when it comes to the gaming side of it, this is definitely I'm forgetting the name of the freaking developer now, but this is their ultimate like game. Like everything they've made before that was leading to this game, and they nailed it. I think Detroit Become Human is an excellent game for this developer. That, dear lord, I can't think of the name. What is the name of this damn developer? Something I know they. Let me
the
see here.
the Detroit oh this Detroit
Detroit
all
Become
humans.
Human developer is
Detroit all humans. I seen Destroy all humans. I was thinking something.
Quantic Dream. Quantic
Quantum Dream.
Dreams, like this is their top game. I don't know what they're gonna do next, but I can tell you right now, everything they've done before this game was leading to this game,
Yeah.
and they nailed it. And they nailed that aspect where it was like, you see the struggle
Uh-huh.
of a droid who you paid for. It's a piece of machinery,
Yeah.
and it lives about your house and all this stuff, but suddenly, is it alive? Is it something that deserves its own rights and stuff?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It raises those questions, and I think it does it excellently. But the third one, which I want to really bring into this, because it really shined into how real can synthetic life actually be, and that is the film Ex Machina. Uh,
Oh, that was on my list.
I know it's on your list. I know it's on your list.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah,
and
that
it
movie.
better be, because if it wasn't, I start questioning. I'm just saying. Uh, Ex Machina is, it's not the type of film that you expect it to be. And I think it subverts your expectations in excellent ways.
Yes.
And let me tell you, there are points where the main droid, I guess, or the robot in the film, when she suddenly dons, skin, and start putting it, you start going, and you start feeling for, like, oh no, I want her to make it. I think she's cool. I think she's all right. You start sympathizing with the protagonist, going, you know, dude, man, just, yeah, go escape with her. You got this, bro. And all this stuff. And then but at the end, obviously, it's like, well, yeah, she is a fucking not real. And then you always look back at the Asian actress. I can't remember her name either, but the one who played the assistant
Uh,
of Oscar Isaac, and clearly she was not AI. She would do whatever she got told to do.
mhm.
So at some point you go, well, then is the girl, is the main girl, is she also just being told, what I mean? It
Yeah.
raises all these questions. And oh dude, Ex Machina is gold, bro.
That,
It's like gold standard when it comes to that.
that's a pillar. That's a pillar. I will mention this other one that is also a pillar. I won't take too much time on it, but it's at that level of yes, you must. If you haven't, you must watch it, and that is Arrival.
Oh, that's on my list.
This is on
That's
your
on my
list. Oh,
list.
you can elaborate more. I was just gonna mention it in passing, just so that I could go over because I mean I don't have a ton because I wanted to narrow it down, but Arrival, it was it was surreal in the effect that it had in me. Which in the first time that I saw it, I saw this movie being rated as freaking perfect almost by everyone. I think actually literally Rotten Tomatoes had it at like
100. It
100%.
was
Yeah,
100% for a while. Yeah. Mhm.
and I watched it, and I don't know what was happening on my mind or what setting I was or what the hell, but I watched it the first time and I enjoyed it, but it didn't click. Like it was
Mhm.
like I
I
don't know.
remember
I
your
don't
reaction
understand.
video, sir.
I don't understand why people are bent over, over shape over this movie because I just saw something that was almost incomprehensible, honestly, it must have been I just did not get it the first time. I did not get it. I watched it in the movie theater. I probably missed out on a lot of things because of language barrier or whatnot. But I put this movie semi recently. It must have been a few months back. I don't know where I kind of wanted to watch it, and I had already finished watching a movie, and for some reason I was like, let's watch another one back to back, which I never do.
Mm.
And I put it in, and I put the subtitles, uh, or the captions, I should say,
Yeah.
and to it fucking clicked. Like once I got the concept of you know what? It's not like I didn't understand it the first time because it was almost like it reminded me of what it was, but almost in a brand new light that I even had emotional moments when the first time that I watched it I felt nothing. It was that deep. It was
Yes.
it was amazing. It's such a good movie, and it's nothing that has to go with it's not fighting aliens or going crazy or spaceships or I mean I guess there's the alien ships if you can call them that. It's not like crazy stuff. No, it's just hey, how will we react? First of all, how will we react if aliens suddenly landed? What would be the realistic interaction? A and B, what if our understanding of our existence, what we know as of our existence, it's not limited to what we know?
Yeah.
What if
Yeah.
there's a concept of time that we don't grasp because we don't live, because as the organisms that we are, we don't live on that kind of time bending fabric, let's call it
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
But this beings do, and not only that, but they can they can try to communicate to you. Uh, Too. It's phenomenal.
It is by far one of my favorite sci-fi films, hands down. I have it on
Yes,
my list,
I,
but I have it on
I,
my list specifically for because I was using concepts. That was the way I was building my list. I was building my list on concepts.
uh,
When I included Ex Machina, it was a concept of, what does it mean to be human? Or when I Pacific Rim, it was the robotics. So I was using AH, and here it's language.
yeah,
That's when you look at language and how it can change and whatever, you can go back to the Matrix itself are these, everybody sees the Matrix in their head and they see these little whatever that are going down, the little icons or characters that are flowing down in this thing, and that's a language. That's a language that the Matrix uses to build what it's trying to build.
yeah,
And here This takes it to a completely different where suddenly the language is not only the a form of communication, but it's also a form of viewing, like, and once you become fluent in this language, you now view things differently. It's
Yeah.
like, whoa, and then there, of course, in the film, there's the dichotomy, dichotomy between, she's starting to absorb and understand this language, and it's showing her way a bunch of other stuff, but at the same time she can't even communicate this information to the freaking leaders of the world who all speak English. It's like she can speak better to these aliens who speak in like these spheres, and the spheres are all different, and whatever, and it's just it's an invented language, which
Uh-huh.
most of the time can seem silly, when you invent a language, or you make it, especially when you make the sound out of it. It's like, who knows what they're speaking. You think of Dothraki, and you think of
Yeah.
freaking Klingon, and all this other stuff is like, okay, yeah, that's all cool and all, but here's this language where it's like so foreign. It's like, it's just spheres, and each
Yeah.
sphere is a statement, or a paragraph, or who knows. I don't even, at the end, we still don't understand it, us ourselves, but the character does. And by understanding it, it opens like a level in her mind that she didn't have access to before, just by understanding language. You know what I'm saying? It's like so fucking, like, that fucking meme.
Yeah.
That's exactly when I fucking saw that movie the first time. That's what I walked away with, a blown up head.
Yeah.
I was like, man, they did something here with it. Yes, it could have been easy an alien invasion. No, they went differently. It's like, well, no, because realistically, the way things should, yes, they're going to be on the ready should some shit pop off, but for the
Yeah.
most part, you're going to want to contact, right? You're going to want to try to whatever, and they do, and it becomes, yes, Arrival is one of, and then visually it's a gorgeous film. This is a
Yes.
Denis Villeneuve film as well, and we all know he's a excellent visual director. So I agree, sir. That's on my list as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
But it was on my list because of language. Because it was like, okay, language is another thing, because you invent languages for fucking sci-fi shit, right?
Yeah.
So the next one I have here is on the list for time travel. And yes, we have
Oh.
time travel. You can go with your fucking Terminators and all this craziness with the time travel
Terminator.
that
Back to the
has
Future. Hello.
Back to the Future. Sure, sure. You have that. For me, it is Looper. 2012 Looper.
Really?
Yes. The
Wow.
time
Okay.
travel in there, you're being sent back in time to be killed. You know what I'm saying? It's like mobsters of the future are like, not only are we going to rub you out, you're going to get rubbed out of this timeline. So we're going to take you out of the timeline and have you rubbed out in back in the past sometime. That is some like concept wise, that is some crazy ass shit right there. It's like, and Looper nails all the aspects. And oh, by the way, another Emily Blunt film. It is a
Yes.
great film. This is by the director Ryan. Oh my god, I forgot his last name, but he did Knives Out. The director of Knives Out, the director of The Last Jedi.
Oh,
He is.
fuck. Yes. I know who you're
Think of his
talking
name, Ryan
about.
something. I
Hold
want to
on.
say Gosling, but it's not it.
Looper director, Ryan Johnson.
Ryan Johnson. Yeah, it's Ryan Johnson. It's so simple. I don't know why I can't think of it. But anyway, Ryan Johnson is one of his earlier films, and it really showcases like a well thought out sci-fi film. And they are, you know, a lot of people looked at and they thought they found loopholes, and it's like, yeah, but why would you, why can't you just kill them right there? Why go through all the trouble of sending them back in time? Blah 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 blah. And there are explained. It's a 2 hour film, so you have to explain stuff usually in a one line sentence, and this sentence is simple. In the future, you know,
Mm.
murder is extremely outlawed. It's like, I mean, you try to picture it because we can't picture it, but try to picture it. Right now it's obviously outlawed. It's not like it's allowed, but it's like extremely outlawed. It's something that's
And
whatever. So it's
probably
like, whoa,
the prosecution of it, it's 100% effective for them to
yeah,
go to
exactly.
such extent.
Exactly. So they said, well, we're going to use time travel because if there's no body, there's no murder.
Yeah.
So let's just get them out of here. And so they figured out the loopers and all that. And this is one of my favorite films of all time. And
Wow.
so yes. So when it comes to time travel, there are other ones that stand out, but Looper for me does it.
Wow. Wow. All right. Well, that Looper is a great movie. Uh, damn. Favorite of all time. I'm not sure if I'm not sure if it reaches that high level of my.
I said it's one of
What
my
do I
favorites
know?
of all time. Yeah, one of my favorites of all time. Not my
What
favorite.
what do I know? I'm gonna switch it to this next one a little bit because there are other forms of art that have actually brought us some great universes, and the quality of the titles on the franchise, they could vary a little bit, but the lore, the universe that they built them and put together, uh, I think that's something that even on games that don't have the best endings, or the best showing of a particular title,
Mhm.
I don't think it deters away from a wonderful world building. And one of my favorite games of all time, as you guys might have guessed already, is StarCraft.
Starcraft.
Of course. The thing that I love about the StarCraft universe is that they took time. This StarCraft is made by Blizzard, and the Blizzard, as I remembered, no, I will say they probably still are, but as I remember, the Blizzard of yore, they were phenomenal in their storytelling and world building. Of course, they
Mhm.
literally made one World of Warcraft. It's a game that to this day, uh, millions of people play and whatnot, and the other games also, StarCraft and StarCraft 2. And what I really like about this universe was that they took time to build a complete lore about it, a complete, like, political thing that was happening on this colonized planets from these people that colonize other planets from the Earth Directorate. They move to other planets and they build a confederacy,
Mhm.
uh, and then the intricate, government and politics, make this rebellion happen, and this rebellion had to be quelled. So this party goes in and destroy this other world, and in this other world, the family of one particular person was, killed, and now they have a thing for revenge, and he just becomes like this figure that suddenly becomes like a rebellion of, they call themselves the Sons of Korhal, and the source of the Sons of Korhal, which was the Korhal being the world that got destroyed, is gonna go in against the establishment. Meanwhile, the Terrans are finding out that they're not alone in this universe. There are actually two types of life forms that exist. One of them is like a warrior caste, almost remind me of it, it reminds me of Predator, but in the hierarchy and
Ooh.
the honor system and all that. But
Mhm.
they're actually, but and they're but they're super advanced. And then there's another race which is like it might as well be the bugs of of the Starship Troopers, which is called the Zerg, and these are like bug-like and organisms that are almost like parasitic in nature, and they were actually both created by the same higher being, alien, which was trying to build a perfect race, almost like a god type figure that was trying to build like a perfect race. And supposedly the Protoss, um, which is the alien race that reminds me of Predator, in a way. They kind of were the failures of it, so they got
Mm.
abandoned, and then they created the Zerg and had a different system. Anyway, that suddenly those forces are actually inching in, and taking world after world of the Confederacy, and of course this person takes advantage of the opportunity to attack the Confederacy, when at the perfect moment, basically when they were already at when they were already more vulnerable, and he does it in a very sadistic kind of way, because he was able to somehow control that species, that looks like bugs, to like race over the seat of the capital. And anyway, the thing is, suddenly he becomes the new the new emperor, basically, and that's what he becomes an emperor. he,
Okay.
he becomes and then the people you were helping him at the beginning of the game. By the end of the game, you're actually forced to attack him because he betrays you. Of course, he betrays in other ways, and I'm trying to make this story as short as possible because there's a lot of intricacies that happen in this story, in this world, and
Sounds
that's what I
political too.
love.
Yeah.
Yes,
Mm.
yes, yeah. It was for something that you think, oh, it's a game about Terrans versus aliens versus predators. Basically, they took the time to explain each faction to the point where when you play each faction, even when you get to play as that Xeno, force, those bug looking things, you get to play as them. You understand their purpose because it gives it to you. It gives you it makes you understand what is their purpose. Why do they do what they do? Same thing when you get to play as the Protoss and you're fighting, the Zerg and the Terrans. You understand. You get put in the position of why you're doing what you're doing. It's not because you're just an evil being of of warrior senseless warriors. No, you're actually quite an honorable race. That had to change you had to kind of change your ways after that alien super alien being, the Selnaga, the super alien being kind of abandoned you, and you started warring amongst yourselves, and that's how you almost got to destroy yourselves, but then you fix yourself and whatever.
Wow.
It is a very, very, very good lore. It's a very the world building is fantastic on it. So yeah, put it on my list. It's one of my I would say probably my favorite world, sci-fi world telling, in gaming.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna finish mines with this one here, and the concept behind it is essentially, the genome splicing that can happen
Oh,
in a lot of sci-fi. When you splice in a little bit of
you're always
I don't
fucking with
know,
DNA.
DNA, yeah,
Yeah.
from something else, whatever. This is actually a game. And yes, of course, guys, it is BioShock. If you haven't got
Ah,
that, the
ah,
splicers and everything. Um, this game is funny because the aesthetic that they're showing you is, the 40s, 50s America,
yes.
or just the world, with the music and everything else. But it is riddled with sci-fi all over the place because there are splicers, people who have figured out how to splice the DNA of this sea slug, you know what I mean, into whatever and create things. You can create the ability to throw fire or electricity or whatever the case may be. And on top of that, it has an amazing story behind it that has a guy who's just like, you know what? The reason I build this amazing city under the sea is because I could not build it anywhere else. You know what I mean? It would not have worked anywhere else. There's no place on above where the land is that would allow a place like this. So he built it under the sea, and there's just so many. It's funny because when you really look at Bioshock, you don't think sci-fi, although sci-fi is there. But,
I think more steampunk, but yeah, I know what you mean.
yeah. I mean, but the sci-fi elements are there clearly,
Oh yeah,
You know what I
absolutely,
mean?
yeah.
Yeah. And but it's one of the things you don't think of when you're looking at it and playing it and stuff like that. Um, and but it is, and it raises the questions. It raises the questions that because as destructive as some of those plasmids that they call them, the ability to splice your own genes to make someone, as destructive as they were, it brings the question up that is it, if it was used for good, would it be okay? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And obviously that's the original intent in the beginning. You know what I mean? And that's obviously fell apart at some point because of how things work. But yeah, that's probably one of my, when it comes to gaming, easily one of my favorite games of all times. When it comes to the stories, also I read the book, that was based on everything that had led up to the game. And if you enjoy Bioshock at all, I highly recommend that you fucking read this book because it is excellent. It does an excellent job of laying the groundwork to what the game ends up having. Although you can get that in the game as well, but it's going to be, through audio logs and stuff like that. But here
Yeah.
you see it, you hear it, and honestly, some of the audio log dialogue that you hear in the game is in the book. Because it's a person
Uh,
who literally sits back and records that audio log. You know what I mean? It's like, and it also
that's
explains why are they recording audio logs? So who the fuck does this shit? But it explains why. And so it is by far it's a series, or yeah, I can say a series, but it's a series that I have a huge love for. And I have the collection, and the collection will follow me to PlayStation 5. Thank God. You know what I mean? 'Cause that was honestly a fear of mine when they said that only 10 games or whatever. I was like, oh my God, show me the list. Please, Bioshock, not be there. And so
Watch
luckily
me.
it's not.
It's gonna be playable and better than ever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I can't wait. That'll be my, I don't know, fifth or sixth time playing through it. You know what I mean? It's like, fuck it. It needs to be done. So, but yeah, Bioshock and the plasmids and their genome splicing, man. That's top notch for me.
That's awesome. Yeah, that one. Yeah, I don't know that I make. I understand why there is a distinction of steampunk, but I don't know if I will separate it too much. It almost seems like steampunk should be like a subdivision of sci-fi. I don't know who's gonna agree with me on that, but
I
I
would
agree
agree.
that
It's
this
it's it's I don't think it's its own genre like
right.
sci-fi, but it definitely is a part of sci-fi.
Yeah,
So if something is steampunkish, then I can definitely say, well, that's a sci-fi, element or sci-fi
yeah,
story, whatever it is. If just the fact that it's including steampunk, yeah.
yeah. That's true. Oh shit! What do you do with something like Shadowrun, which had aspect of sci-fi but also of fantasy? Then you're fucked now because they have orcs and
The
elves and shit in the future. What do you
so
call that?
the
Sci
Bright,
fantasy?
right?
No,
Bright had a bunch of
right.
sci-fi elements, and
Yeah.
then on top of that, your orcs and fairies and everything. Oh, and by the way, this happened in East LA. You know what I mean? So,
So did the Wolf
so,
Among Us. I mean, not East LA, but I think it was New York. In the Wolf Among Us. But that
yeah,
has fairy tale.
yeah,
You know.
fables. Yep, yep.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, I'm gonna close mine with something that you definitely know is sci-fi, 100%, because it's something that you will never see happening in real life because it's not the world that we live in. You will never see, even if we were the only two surviving superpowers or whatever catastrophic thing happened,
Oh
you will
yes, I
never see the United States and China ever fusing to form a federal government. That will just never happen, you know. But in this series, it did, and they did that, and they even were able to fly a ship and colonize uh, a new star system. And suddenly we have what? We have the setting for a fantastic, one of the best space western dramas that have been on television. They have unfortunately been short lived because that's how humans are. We don't deserve the good things that we get, and that's why our time will end in this earth at some point. Uh, that series, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to propose is Firefly.
Firefly.
Firefly, and you heard me say Serenity, because Serenity was a movie that came up right after the last season, the last, or not, maybe not right after, but after the show had already been canceled. Thank you very much. Firefly is a space western drama. It's a television series that created by Josh Whedon. Uh, and I believe he was also the executive producer. It takes it, the series takes set in the year 2517 after the arrival of humans in a new star system, following and follows the adventures of the renegade crew of Serenity, a Firefly class starship. Uh, and the assembled cast portrays the nine characters who live on Serenity. The cast includes stars Nathan Fillion, has Gina Torres, it has Alan Tudyk, uh, Morena Boccarin, Adam Baldwin, Jewel. I don't know how to pronounce Stati. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Sean Maher, uh, Summer Glau,
Oh, so
and
good.
Ron Glass. Yes. Uh, this
Huge
series.
fan of Summer Glau. Just saying. Just saying.
Really, I was more of Jewel State. I can't pronounce her name. Anyway, the let me tell you, this series was incredibly fun because Nathan Fillion is an incredible, if under what would you say,
Underappreciated.
underappreciated actor. Yes. uh this series was incredibly fun to watch. Every episode, you could tell that there was something special. It aired on Fox, which might have been one of the problems. Uh, but it lasted for, I want to say it was probably like 12 or 13
14
episodes.
episodes.
14 episodes.
14.
There you
Mhm.
go. Actually, I think it was the last two were never aired, if I'm not mistaken, because I remember having the DVD collector, and it said
Possible,
something
yeah.
like that. Yeah, it said something
Okay.
like that. But anyway, this now. Hear me out, Netflix. If there is it's not gonna happen. You can't get the original cast because I mean, obviously the movie kind of like put a kibosh on that. Let's
Yeah.
just say, but man, do we need to have a revival of this back somehow, because uh, I fell in love with this series. I fell in love with the fact that even though it was in the future, it was very very old school western in a lot of the things, even including all the way up to like train robberies, uh, and stuff like that. It is it's a shame that it was
It
not
is.
appreciated. And I don't know why or what was on television around that time that will peel people away, or maybe it was on a bad time slot, or who knows? Because this series has a cult following for a reason. For a
Hmm.
reason, it was well written. Uh,
Which led to
it
the
was
film.
funny. It
You
was
know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
At the end, yeah at the end it led us to have a film that it was almost like a it puts a bittersweet end to something that could have actually outlived itself more. It would have been something more. And I'm not saying that the movie was like exceptional or anything like that.
It was
uh
fun. It was a
I think
fun romp. Yeah.
it was a fun run. Exactly, it was a fun run. And that's why everybody should watch this series. It's 11, 12 episodes, or 13 or 14, whatever number you say. um Man, I want to see the re-release of that, or some arrangement where they made it
I
4K
have.
HDR and all that. Was I will
Yeah,
happily
I've
watch
had Firefly on my list for a long time. My issue with watching it is it's one of those things. It's like it was cut in the middle of its life cycle.
that. Yeah, not even in
Another.
the middle. It was caught at its childhood.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, at the
there could
very
be
beginning,
so
yeah,
much
exactly.
more. But
But that's
still,
the
it
issue.
speaks numbers. It speaks numbers. What even with those few episodes, you know what it is. And who knows? This might all be nostalgia, and you look at it right now, and you'll be entertained. But of course, it's not. TV has evolved already, so
Of
I don't
course.
know if it'll hold if you were to watch it tomorrow, for example. But man, it's one of those pillars. You said it very well. Even if you end up not caring for it too much, you still have to see it
Yeah.
for because it's a pillar. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, I hope that was informative. Well, you guys got some information there as far as sci-fi. If you're into sci-fi and you have missed on any of the items that we've mentioned, um, you're doing yourself a disjustice by not looking into it, because we're talking about some of the best sci-fi that we, yes, it's our opinion, but it is shared by many.
Mhm.
So I can definitely endorse everything on this list,
Mhm.
yours and mine, and say if you should definitely get into it. For an example, you may not like it immediately because I can tell you right now, Blade Runner, the original Blade Runner, I watched it many, 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 many years after it was released and did not like it. I looked at it as going, I don't know what the big deal that everybody has on this film. And we are now, from that moment, we are now a good 9 years after. I've watched the original Blade Runner now for a film that I did not like, mind you. I've watched the original Blade Runner now probably a good 5, 6 times. I have watched the newest one, 2049, the shorts, the everything that I've read the book that it's based on, and now I can sit back and watch Blade Runner and go, this is some good fucking shit right here. You know what I'm saying? It's like really, really good. So I invite you guys, if you watch any of these, to revisit them if you felt anything negatively or something. Because sometimes it takes an additional viewing. It takes a revisit for you to suddenly appreciate. I mean, look at what
So me with
Santos said
Arrival.
about Rival. Yeah, exactly. It took a revisit for it to finally click. And if he
Yeah.
never revisited it, his only opinion would have been, "Oh, it was just okay." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was all right. Um, and so yeah, I definitely say that you should definitely revisit these. So anyway, thanks again so much for tuning in, guys. As always, please go good game dot rocks, join the conversation there, and please like, subscribe, share the podcast with everyone you know. So this is Mad Dog signing off this week, saying we are coming towards election day, guys. Vote. You gotta vote. You can't bitch and moan about anything that happens afterwards if you don't fucking vote. So you got to get out there. It has to happen. If you haven't registered, fucking do it. You do it by mail, do it by whatever. I get my mail-in ballots, and I literally drive the shit in. The mail, it comes to me in mail. I fill it out because I take my time. For the record, you should look into all the candidates. I know it sounds like a hassle, but it's important. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? This is important. In the end, this is one of the privileges you have as a citizen that so many
Still.
people don't use. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I mean, 50% of the people roughly don't vote. And you can imagine what would happen to that if at least half of those 50 did. You know what I mean? It's just like everybody says that the vote don't count. Well, it doesn't count if you don't use it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It really doesn't fucking count then, does it? So really go out, vote. I honestly, I don't care who you vote for. Just make a sound decision, use the information that's available, and go out, man, because it cannot be more imperative this year
Yeah.
than it has been in a long time. Uh, and so I have my mail-in ballot. I have already filled in a portion of it, but like I said, you gotta go in, you gotta do your homework, you gotta look up who everybody is, and I'm going to vote. Based on information. I'm not just going to say, oh, because they're Democrat, oh, because they're Republican. No. Look it up, because just because I'm of a certain party doesn't mean that they all align towards me. You know what I mean? You got to go with your views. So make a sound decision. Do it. Really important. Mad Dog signing off. Mr. Santos, take us home.
I just want to give a quick shout out before people freak out about the unmentioned ones. Of course, we could have talked about Star Wars. Of course, we could have talked about Star Trek. The Matrix. It's absolutely it's on the list. Halo as a game. I personally love that universe. If the games have disappointed me lately. Uh, Ghost in the Shell. I think the Ghost in the Shell was mentioned.
No, it
Uh,
was not mentioned, but
oh, dang.
it was hard not to mention it.
There you go. And yes, I know there's tons more, guys. If you can think of any more, feel free to comment and let us know. Also, if you have any particular any suggestions of movies that we should watch, if you probably think, you know what? Let's make it challenging. You don't think Magda has seen? There you go. How about that?
There
How's
you
that
go.
for a
Yeah,
challenge?
for sure. Let's
Put
do
it
it.
on. Make a comment. Let us know. Throw a DM. Whatever you want to do. Just let us know because I mean, there's a couple there that I wouldn't mind rewatching myself or watching for the first time. Like the one you like, The Edge of Tomorrow.
Yes, The Edge of Tomorrow. You got to do it, and The Prestige. You got to do it. You got to
Prestige.
do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. Well, we'll see you next week. GG. GG.
If you're still listening to the podcast, we have a real special treat for you from the personal section of Misconnections. Mother buying milk and coffee. I'm Conway and 528. You look like you had your hands full. I started out behind you. Ooh. But I was out the door before you were able to finish the other register. I started to wonder after I left. Didn't see you exit if you had troubles with your card. I would have definitely paid for the items if I could have had the chance to give you my number and help you carry them to your car. Couldn't help but notice you weren't wearing a ring. Wish I had time to break the ice and get a conversation started. ... My fault. Anyways, I'm a father, divorced, and looking to meet someone. You caught my eye. Sure. And if you see this, I would like to take you out to dinner. And if you're single and available, give me a call. Guy in blue, BMW convertible at Lowe's. If I'm not screaming midlife crisis, the convertible is. Yep, I'm the driver in the silver SUV checking you out. Hit me up if you want to meet.